Welcome back to the Cretaceous period. I'm Eric Campbell. These are the Stream Punks. We're going to play some dino stuff tonight. It's good to see everybody. This is Legacy of Silvercreek, our continuation of our kind of original world built into a not original setting, Predation. Silvercreek was a game that we started quite a while ago as part of a fundraiser unlock, and we fell in love with it, and now we're back for another round. This story, is a quick reminder to those who are watching, is not a necessarily, I would, as they said when Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out, it is a spiritual sequel to the other one. So we do hope you enjoyed this. You don't have to watch the previous series to know what's going on in this one, but if you would like to, feel free. It is over on the Alt Haven's YouTube channel, and yeah, feel free to do that. Some announcements real quick right at the top before we jump into tonight's story. Is the first big one that I have to throw at all of you is, guess what? The Stream Punks website launches next week.
Woo!
I'm putting that up next week.
Woo!
Yeah, so that's finally happening. So thank you to everyone. This was the big fundraiser that we had a hot second ago, was all about trying to raise funds so we could hire a big badass person to do a big badass website. And that is done what we've done. So now that it's ready to go, we're going to be launching that pretty soon. We've gotten a couple of questions already about merch. That's not going to be quite as ready to launch when the site launches. That's getting a little polished before we launch that up. And we're also still exploring maybe hiring some independent artists to do designs for us. But we'll let you know. It's all in development, and it's all to be announced. So we'll keep you guys apprised. But thank you so much. The website is beautiful, and it's all because of you, as usual. Ox Crew, thank you so much. That was the only announcement I had tonight. I'm going to toss this over to anybody else who had an announcement. I know Sam's got one. Anybody else got an announcement? Yes, Lisa.
First, I want to shout out Morgan Peters for doing the website. Really awesome. She also did the Double Clicks website, and I think Laser Weber's solo artist.
And Amy Vorpal also did
Amy
Vorpals.
Yeah. That's right. So Morgan's very wonderful. And I have a new story out on Storyloom. Yo, I'm super excited about it. It is my homage. First of all, it's a spin-off of Welcome to the Blood Bar, so it's still in that vampire / monstery world, but it's in a different town, a small town in Bumblefuck. And it is, you play as a Black female demon hunter. Okay, this is my homage to Bianca Lawson's character Kendra in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who did not last long enough. Sorry, spoiler, R.I.P. She did not last long enough on that show, and I love that character.
She deserved better.
She deserved better. Her accent was terrible, but we love our girl. You know what, Bianca, you got this. If they ever do a Buffy reboot, I hope she's in it. But yeah, Black female demon hunter. And there's like a very light romantical subplot that plays out very slowly over. So I'm just like easing my way into writing romance because I don't know. I don't really connect with romance just as its own genre, but if you put it into something else, I'm good. So that's what I'm working on. But please check it out. I have the first 4 chapters up. I'm working on trying to do 1 chapter per week, maybe 2 chapters every 2 weeks, be on a more regular schedule than I have been. But yeah, check it out. Storyloom, you can get it on Android or iPhone. And yeah, that's it. Sweet. Oh, it's called, did I say the name? I didn't say the name, did I?
Welcome to, yeah, go ahead.
It's called, Welcome to the Blood Part is my original. That's all complete, and you could still read that on Storyloom. But the spinoff is now called Anaya the Hunter, Town on Fire. So
sweet.
Go check it out.
Thank you, Elisa.
Thank you.
Let's see. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to announce before we... Yes, Noir.
So Morning Ritual is back. We came back just this last Saturday. We had a fantastic guest. We had Hamasama-kun of TikTok renown. Just really awesome guy. We're kind of rebooting everything over at Critical Misses, including merch and social. So be on the lookout we're doing wanted posters so you can see who was a cruncher and who was not a cruncher. And we're putting together an entire compilation of that, guys. If you don't know what that guy is, check out Morning Ritual. It's a whole
amazing thing. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Noir. I think that brings us to Sam, unless you've got something, Caitlin. Caitlin's like, leave me alone. All right.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready to go see dinos. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, Sam, what you got?
Yes. I occasionally cast pods. It's like casting a fishing line, only absolutely in no way like that whatsoever. But Pest Control is this delightful little podcast with built mostly on Monsters of the Week with a little bit of a Night Vale vibe. I think is the closest flavor of the pitch, but a little bit cozier. I very much enjoy it as just like I listen to a whole bunch of episodes to prep for it. Because I am on an episode and it launched today. The episode is called, and this is true, Samageddon, because there were like freaking 3 of us on this record, and so it was like I just more chaos. It was good. No, I was very well behaved, as the promo indicated. Very well behaved. Anyway, the link to that podcast should be going into chat, so you can check it out. I can tell you, if you just stop in for this one episode, because it is a world-building driven episode, you're not like, it's a great stop-in point. So if you haven't yet checked out Pest Control, which you should absolutely do, you can catch the episode that I'm on, no consequences, much like my behavior. It is an energy I look forward to bringing to tonight's episode of Dinos. No consequences, only Brunos. And I'm excited.
All right, y'all. With that, let's head back to the Cretaceous period and start the next chapter of Legacy of Silvercreek. Begin tonight's story with the severe gaze of Dr. Amalia Molina, who has been waiting patiently for a reply. She stands here in this laboratory, one of the holdovers of the original first commuters, a laboratory that was created by Sati about 100+ years ago, filled with technological marvels that should not exist here in the Cretaceous period. Things that are very reminiscent back home of Kaleno City, particularly things that Joe recognizes and is familiar with just from the sight of them. The pristine computer consoles, the holographic displays, the constant update of data, of the atmospheric sensor readings, taking note of all the different changes happening, as well as medical files and data readouts that are all being projected on smaller screens throughout this small laboratory. Also noted here that you would have probably noticed by this point, Joe, is this laboratory looks modular, like it's meant to accommodate all kinds of projects, from chemistry to what you think might be astronomy, based off of some of the instruments that you're seeing towards the opposite end in the back part of the modular laboratory itself. Looks like a closed off area that probably allows to be enclosed and might have what looks like a retractable high power telescope that probably looks like it's attached to the ceiling. There's all kinds of things in here, as well as a small little bay for engineering. It looks like there's a place to literally assemble and disassemble technological devices. A kind of catch-all laboratory. It also primarily functions as an emergency sickbay for the people of Silvercreek. As still within this laboratory, it has some of the most advanced medical technologies still available, as well as some of the metagel that is still accessible from what would be considered a pretty rare technological advancement here as it is now, in that not too many people in the Cretaceous period have access to this kind of medical technology. How Sati hasn't reclaimed this, or if maybe they don't know about it, is leaving some questions open for you. But all of that is kind of just what your mind is racing through as you're looking around and gazing at all of this, because as you are darting around and taking note of the rest of the laboratory, you begin to realize that the silence that has fallen into the conversation is becoming harder and harder to avoid as the seconds tick by and no one answers. Molina has asked, "Is anyone after you?" And no one has answered yet. You do see standing is Dahlia, who is standing there, is also kind of looking back and forth between Ozzy and Joe to find out what the answer to that question is. For all of the ability that she has to see things that she probably shouldn't know or couldn't know, this one seems to be a little bit of a mystery to her as well, as she glances at the two of you. She, being a friend of yours from some time ago, has a little bit more of a read on the silence. And so it functions kind of like this as the scene plays out. The question gets asked, "Is anybody after you?" Silence. And you see her as Dahlia stands there and waits for you to answer, and she notices you're not answering, and her eyes glance over at you, Joe, Ozzy, and then she glances at Melina, and then she looks at the two of you like you gave her answer by not answering, and she just goes, and then gets really quiet and looks back down. Doesn't answer.
I don't know if it needs to be. I think Joe, noticing the silence, I think had been kind of just like looking around, not fully paying attention to the conversation.
Sure,
Was like, oh,
sure.
social thing.
William and Eric,
And then,
yep.
like you said, noticed the silence, caught up on what was being said. And then I think Dahlia looks at Joe. Joe looks at Ozzy. And maybe I need to make a roll for this. Can I gauge what direction Ozzy wants this social interaction to go? Because that is 100% Joe's North Star in any sort of like, oh, are we supposed to lie kind of a thought. Like,
I'm going to make a ruling here, and this is very snaky of me because it's kind of forcing Sam into a micro GM standpoint to which they promised they would never do. But Sam, if you want them to roll for it, I'm going to let you set the difficulty for that.
I mean, I was planning on saying words, so that
okay.
Absolutely
You can totally do that.
Like
Yeah.
Ozzy's not gonna let Ozzy is not letting a silence exist.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was like, if a silence is sitting, Joe's
the fact
like,
that a silence is here is already something I'm going to have to rationalize.
You're gonna try to kill it for XP.
Ozzy. I mean,
I understand.
It's, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, Joe just looks to Ozzy then.
And Ozzy speaks up.
Look, here's the thing. We don't know that anyone is after us. We have no positive evidence that anyone has any point been after us, and we definitely have no evidence that anyone's been after us in the last 300 miles. So I'm gonna say no. Yeah, no one's after us.
She taps her cane kind of thoughtfully against the ground as she listens to this, and she nods slowly as the words come out. And she does this in a way, and believe me, as somebody who grew up spending a lot of my time within those families, she does this in such a way that really only a Latino mother can do. Like, you get the sense that she knows everything without saying anything. She kind of taps the cane a little bit, and then she says, "Well, then I'm curious as to why you traveled 300 miles to come here. Not for sightseeing."
Well,
So if you had, would you blame us?
It is beautiful. As was previously stated, and she kind of gestures to Dahlia, she's someone we know out here, so it was a destination on purpose in that regard.
Make a roll.
Okay.
That's going to be a social roll.
Do you want me to take it?
I mean, you are the one that
I
is
spoke up.
kind of like, yeah, I mean, kind of
I think
you're pushing the narrative a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to ask.
I mean, it's sure. Joe.
No,
Joe
no,
was
he
like,
waited
"Oh,
until you said words so you could.
No, I
change
love
the
it.
roll.
No,
There's
no, I love it. I love it. Joe
Mm.
spoke up, was like, "Oh, actually, what Ozzy said was very logical. I can continue that."
I'll
And
just
then was like,
build on
"Oh,
that."
right. Oh, whoops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What
No,
am I
it's
rolling
fair.
on? What am I rolling on?
It's a D20.
Yes.
And-
What is my difficulty?
Oh, so what's your difficulty?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. You're going to need a 2. Difficulty 2, so 6 or better.
6 or better. Okay. I don't really have anything. I don't think she's not necessarily even trying to lie. She's not even trying to be sneaky in any way, shape, or form. So I'm rolling flat, and we'll just see what happens.
All right, you get to
It's a
tell her.
6 exactly.
6 exactly. So there's some suspicion. And Joe, you're already finding the flaws in the logic. Like they're building up in your head.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she
Because-
believes fully what she's saying.
Yeah, 300 miles.
Yeah.
Through Cretaceous jungle and forest, almost dying. Paying a visit, not taking the ferry. Like all these little holes that you could see. Oh, if she thinks about this too much, she's going to see right through this. Instead,
No, she's fully sitting on the, well, why would you come out here? Like no one else set up those details as like the thing that we were talking about. So Joe is fully like, oh, well, we came here because we have a friend here. I don't think she's thinking in those directions, but sorry, continue. But I she's trying her best.
Yeah, essentially, there's you. If you thought about it, being the critical
Yes.
thinker that you are, it would have been easy enough to have been like, I could come up with all the reasons in the world why, if I was in her position, I would think I was a lying asshole right now. But instead, what you get is Melina nodding, and she says, "All right." Doesn't change anything. Either way, I don't close the gates of Silvercreek to people who come crawling out of the jungle like this. So, you are welcome here, as I said, and I'm going to ask Dahlia to help you get settled in until we can find out what we're going to be doing. I'm guessing, based off of the conversation so far, you've all decided to make this an extended stay. So, welcome to Silvercreek.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looks over to Joe like, wait, did we decide that?
Very much unclear on her face, but then she turns back to Dr. Molina and says, I am very stinky. Would it be possible to fix that in any
Dahlia will help
capacity?
you with that.
Okay.
Well, you may enjoy the air conditioning if you like. I must step outside and get back to my duties. She starts heading towards the door, and she stops in front of it, and she says, pardon my dramatic last word. She turns back and looks at everyone and says, I do not say this as to put too much pressure or guilt on you, but I must remind you that if anyone is hunting you, there are families here in Silvercreek. Just keep that in mind. She taps the button to the door and very slowly turns and starts making her way out with her cane.
Okay, so what do you want us to do about future conversation later, I guess. All right, not a woman of extended conversations. We can work that out.
All things
We got
considered,
this.
that could have gone significantly worse.
I mean, yeah, we could not be staying here overnight. Like, even just like getting this AC out of it, worth.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Y'all may notice that Clover kind of has crept backwards during that whole conversation and has been looking at machines, but also like, don't notice me. No.
Yeah.
So after Melina leaves, she kind of creeps a little bit back into the center of the room, but is still like, oh God, I don't want to have that conversation.
How much do you think they talked on your journey with the two of us? Like, do you think Clover said much or was more just like guiding when helpful?
I think I think Clover would have told you that she had to leave her community. She was forced out. You would have gotten that sense. And that's kind of all you might have gotten. You also would have noticed that she doesn't really give that many details, and she seems kind of shell-shocked by it all.
Yeah.
So she's leaving a bad situation. But yeah, she probably wouldn't have shared much more detail than that.
Cool. See anything that you recognize?
No. This is all really amazing stuff. I hope I get to learn what it all does and learn how to use it.
It's really fascinating. Obviously, it's not my lab, but from what I've seen so far, all these pieces, it's meant to be moved around and modular. You can see here, she kind of starts like pointing out things that she's noticed, and then as she kind of realizes how close she is in your space, she's like, sorry, I've been told that I am an over-explainer. I shouldn't expect you to not know stuff.
It's okay. I mean, we don't have stuff like this where I'm from, and
At all?
I mean, no. Some people were starting to be interested in it, but no, not anymore. We weren't allowed to bring things like this into the community, so we would usually hide them. And so no, yeah, definitely not stuff on this scale. Just little simple things, really. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, that'll be enough of that. And I think Zach is actually just going to walk away towards wherever Kimmy is. And
Thank
just
you.
full focus on Kimmy.
Okay. So Kimmy is outside, as she should be, as they should be. And Kimmy is, when you step out and go down the ramp, do me a favor and make me, I'm not going to tell you what this is for.
Okay.
Do you have any, what I am going to ask, do you have any survival skills or any abilities like that that might come into play?
You
should, right?
Survival skills.
Let me tell you, I've got practice with all weapons, danger sense, discover dinos, and physical skills, running and climbing.
Okay, yeah, none of those are going to apply here. So go ahead and do me a favor.
Does volcanic or walk with dinosaurs work?
No, but that's probably not a bad thing necessarily. It just means you don't have to expect when suddenly dinosaur. So go ahead and go ahead and make me a roll real quick. I'm going to set the difficulty to standard. So I'll say difficulty 2.
I rolled a 6
or better. 6? Okay. It's the time you've lived here in Silvercreek, growing up here and being familiar with the atmosphere. As you step out, glancing up, the sun's pretty high in the sky. You can still hear the thunderous cracking sounds from trikes smashing into each other almost less than a quarter of a mile away. As the mega herd is still moving throughout, you can hear also the scent has finally reached Silvercreek. There's just too many giant dinos nearby. But that's not what draws your attention. What draws your attention is you notice that the air has become a little heavier than it normally does. You've also noticed that some of the treetops are swaying a little bit more than they typically do during this season. You can just see some of the great big, what we would just kind of categorize as giant pines, and these great trees towering up almost 150 feet. You just see them kind of swaying back and forth. There is partial cloudy skies and sun, but it stirs enough inside of you to think that maybe the weather is starting to shift, or maybe there could be a storm coming.
Can I this is good. Noir doesn't know the science. Would it be possible for me to actually climb up a tree to see if I can see a storm off in the distance?
Funny you should ask that. There is actually an outpost just to the west of Silvercreek called the Tops.
I see. Watchtower.
The Watchtower, which was specifically built to keep an eye out for Stripe. As a quick reminder, because some of our players here actually might need the reminder as well. Those of you who may not know at home, in the previous incarnation, Secrets of Silvercreek, we introduced a very territorial tyrannosaur named Stripe. Stripe kind of has made this one of their favorite hunting grounds. She is very attached to this place, and she has become something of a local legend. When it comes to being a hunter and sort of the king of the areas around Silvercreek, she's somewhat notorious. She's called Stripe because of the large blackened like scars that are across her back, left there by many of a battle with other large predators. They built the Watchtower initially because Silvercreek had a bunch of encounters with Stripe in the beginning. She is unusually aggressive for a T-Rex. Just as a quick snapshot for those of you who live here in the Cretaceous period, T-Rex doesn't have very much of a reason to fear anything. But they're still large predators, and much like lions, if it becomes too much of a problem, they'll just move on to find something else. And most tyrannosaurs that you have ever encountered outside beyond the walls of Silvercreek, by and large, they don't like to come near the town. By and large, they're way more interested in hunting the herds and tracking the herds that are migrating up and down the riverbeds. It's been very rare when anybody from Silvercreek has had a fatal encounter with a T-Rex. For the most part, you're just too much trouble and you're too small. It's not really worth it unless there hasn't been a meal in a while, but food is abundant out here. Stripe is different. Stripe is aggressive, and if it sees your chest rising and falling and notices that you have blood, Stripe will be interested in finding out how much blood you have. So she has been chased off. It's not impossible to deal with her, but she is considered one of the most dangerous things about wandering into the Red Jaw Wilds. So, bit of a backstory for those of you, and a particularly important backstory for our Karn, because Zach, truthfully, Stripe is one of the big threats that you have gone through a lot of drills over again and again and again growing up, how to get people inside and what to do to scare Stripe off. Thankfully, stereotypically and easily enough, Stripe tends to be frightened by fire. And Silvercreek has been able to use that to both save Stripe's life and the life of anyone Stripe has asked for. You have also been given the protocol, though, that if it comes down between Stripe and a member of Silvercreek, you are to absolutely shell that animal into oblivion. That no one is to fall prey to that T-Rex, especially because if it happens once, Stripe will definitely catch on that I can feed here all the time. Keep making it too much trouble. The Watchtower, which is not more than maybe a two-hour trek here from Silvercreek, has a brilliantly hidden canopy all the way up into the higher like the branches of one of these great trees of the forest, giving lots of space to look out and get a good sense of the landscape.
All right. I think with that, the decision is pretty much made in Zach's mind. He's just gonna walk in, grab a few of his things. It's gonna be very obvious that he's getting ready to take a trek somewhere.
Okay.
He's not really gonna say anything about it. It's just, all right, got my gear, does the double check, make sure everything's in order.
You feel her standing behind you as you're grabbing some of your weapons. You feel Tara, the other member of your small militia team, standing behind you, waiting patiently. And knowing Tara, she probably knows that you know she is there. She loves to go for effect.
So I'm sure this is the part where you're going to give me your insight on what you think I'm doing or what I'm about to do, right?
You hear her voice behind you. It's got a little bit of a scratch to it. She just says, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. It sounds and looks like you're planning on leaving. And you haven't told anybody what you're doing. So you're either doing something stupid or you're trying to keep me away from the fun. Either way, I don't like it.
Trees are swaying a little harder than I'm comfortable with. I want to see if there's a storm out and
oh shit!
How long we got to brace for it.
Fuck, I don't know how you do that.
It's because it's very easy for me to pay attention to things that make sense, and that is not people. So are you gonna get in my way, or how
When you
are we
turn
going
and face
about
Tara,
this?
you see a woman who's about 5'5", who has copper-colored hair that no matter what she could do, no matter what god she prayed to, those curls will never stop getting in her face or out of her or out of it. You know her. She is a fellow Karn. She is really specialized in being fast and quiet, getting in close and making with the stabby stab before anybody has a chance to get their guards up. She is one of these hunters. She doesn't pick too big of a prey, but she's one of these hunters that likes to get in close with a spear. She doesn't like to use projectile weapons when she goes on hunts and whatnot. And she's not your strongest warrior. She's definitely your most cunning, to be sure. She's metal as fuck. You know this because she's missing 3 fingers on her left hand that she generously donated to a raptor that was trying to take the rest of her. The raptor's head is inside on a mount in her particular domicile, and she is kept for funsies. Has not affected her ability to do anything. She also, as redheads go, has suffered greatly in an era where there is no sunscreen, really, and has come to become sort of like this deepened, tanned, almost pinkish, like encased woman who's like dressed up in these hard leathers with a lot of the metal technological sensors that she carries around on her belt. She's leaning up against that makeshift glaive that she's always used. And she's not even looking at you as she's talking. You see, she's just kind of kicking around a big stone at her feet. She says, I'm going to come with you.
That didn't sound like a question.
It's a warning, really.
You looking to donate more pieces, or what's going on here?
It's been boring around here lately. And you got to go do the rescue this morning, so I'm going to go. Besides, I haven't been to Red Jaw in a while. Boring looking at it from the outside in, you know?
Boring is usually safe, however.
Safe. That's for you, though. I'm an underling. I'm not a leader. I get to be, reckless. Just so long as it doesn't endanger anybody else or the rest of my hand. So are we going or not?
Oh, I was trained to realize when a fight was pointless, so I suppose you're coming with me. Don't slow me down and don't make a sound.
You gonna tell me about the Sadi people that arrived here? They looked Sadi to me.
They're people.
They're okay? What about the butterfly? I noticed nobody said anything about that when she walked in. Everyone's cool with it? I mean, I'm cool with it. I just want to know, is everyone else cool with it?
Seems to me, butterfly, not a butterfly. They don't seem to be causing any trouble, and if they decide to start making trouble, then we put an end to it.
I thought they were our friends. Weren't they our friends again? Didn't we come to some kind of agreement or something at some point?
Again, this is that whole people thing. They'll say one thing and then do another. That's why I like dinosaurs. They're simple.
She smiles at that and doesn't say anything, doesn't quip back. Get the sense that she probably profoundly agrees with you. As the two of you trek towards the front gates of Silvercreek, you see standing upon the battlements, once again, is the protector of Silvercreek, Piper Skystone. There are times where you catch Piper as she is standing up on the battlements, and you think for a split second you're looking at her mom, Alice. She glances down as she sees y'all approaching and walks over to the inside edge of the battlements, just squats down where you see her big combat boots just kind of spread out a little bit as she gets into this squat with 2 weapons at her side and says, okay, what's up? You going out?
The trees are swaying, and I don't like it. I want to see if there's a storm coming and how long we have to brace for it.
All right. I'll let you out. Hey, if you're going to go out, though, could you do me a favor and take some rations up to the Watchtower?
Do you have them ready for me?
Yeah, hold on. Just gives a sharp whistle. A few moments later, you see a couple of people coming over with a small pack. Doesn't look heavy at all. Looks like it's probably a couple of days worth of extra rations. Been meaning to run those out. Haven't been enough time, and then the herd got here. It was just too big of a pain in the ass. So you can take those up. That'd be appreciated.
No problem. Need to make sure everybody eats.
Well, get on out of here then.
All right. Well, bye. He just starts running off.
You start doing a jog. Are we running? And then Tara chases off after you.
I told you not to slow me down.
Is this a human-only trip, or do you have your companions with you?
Oh, you would definitely want. I'm gonna say you would probably, if you're gonna go to the Red Jaw Wilds, you definitely want a companion with you.
Yeah. Kimmy's definitely coming.
Kimmy's coming. Yeah. If Tara's hard to stop, try to stop a pterosaur.
Yeah.
Good luck.
While you were waiting for the food, Kimmy was like, just again, huge. Like her entire beak is like the size of a small child, but was like poking at the like gravel by her feet and like kicking it around and like, we're leaving, aren't we? Like, what are we doing? And but like anxiously like side to side and not yet. Okay, and then would just like irritatedly was like bothering the ground until it was time to go, and then she just took off.
The whole time that was happening, Sweets, the other pterodactyl, it was like just kind of mimicking a little and pecking at Kimmy.
From like across the quad, basically.
Dude, those two, really name pterosaur for a good reason, because the terror, they can both be one. Pterosaur is just like snapping at each other in irritation, especially because they're not from the same species and they don't really like each other very much when they see each other around. There's a territorial thing that definitely kicks off between the two of them.
If Sweets comes over at all, Kimmy is immediately like completely irritated, and like if this was a creature that could have feathers to ruffle, that would be what is happening, but would kind of posture a little bit, even though she's like twice the size of Sweets, would be irritated if she got near Zach.
Kimmy is huge compared to Sweets, right? Yeah.
Huge, like twice the size.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if I remember correctly,
maybe not quite twice.
Kimmy's wingspan is close to 40 feet. Isn't that right?
No. Kimmy's about 25 feet.
25 feet? Okay.
Yeah, she's not quite. Is it quite?
Not full.
Quetzalcoatl? She's not that big.
Yeah. No, that's good.
She's not that large.
Okay,
but
cool.
She stands when she's standing. She's about 8 feet tall, so she's taller than Zach. And her wingspan is about 25.
Okay, cool.
I mean, at most, Sweets probably would have done one quick flyby, but that's about it.
Yeah. It's like, check it out. And Kimmy's just pissed about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the smaller one is in no way going to risk getting closer to the bigger one, but the smaller one's just not worth it. So all they do is irritate each other. So, all right, the two of you with pterosaur flying after you like a big irritated kite starts. You guys start heading off towards the Red Jaw Wilds. It's going to be about a 2-hour journey by foot heading out over there.
Yep.
But then once you get into the wilds itself, it's only about another hour or so, depending on how the terrain and any encounters you might have, you get to the Watchtower.
Nice.
Meanwhile, cut back to.
So which of these is for sunburn? Please tell me one of these is for sunburn.
Yeah. So while you say that, you find yourself currently on the banks of Silvercreek. There's a sectioned off area over here. There is plumbing in Silvercreek, you'll be happy to learn. But if you're looking to just get the grime of travel off of you, in actuality, the rivers near the banks here in Silvercreek are actually safe enough to just splash yourself pretty good. When you get out here, you can already see there's a couple of people from the township that are bringing in fresh water and are also doing kind of the same thing. It's early spring, so there is still a lot of it's not exactly hospital. It's Cretaceous period, early spring. So the temperature here is about 88 degrees or so Fahrenheit. Sorry for those of you who hate the American units, and I don't blame you. But yeah, that's where we're going to start this one off. You guys just kind of like getting the grime off of your bodies.
Oh yeah, I should do that.
I am not totally versed in the sciences of outside, but I'm sure someone around here would know a plant that might help. We did run out of our bottle of aloe about 50 miles in because you wouldn't sit under Atticus's frill, so I don't have any left.
Sun was everywhere. That's what it does. It wasn't just under the frill. It was also outside. What do you want from me?
Dahlia just holds up the small little canister and just says, whoever wants it first,
Snatch.
take it. You see, it's a synthetic blend of some kind of aloe that sprays on.
Joe like
Spray it
holds
on.
out your hand to like, I'll get your back, like like the.
Okay, you
Oh,
spray it on.
Oh, and from just like into, I think probably maybe hiding on top of the bag, Vern's little nosy. Because like
Oh.
nosies can get sunburnt,
Put a
and you
little bit
gotta
on.
protect the little nosy and the little earsies.
Well, I don't want him to inhale particulates, so
And just on the
she'll
top,
put a little
maybe. I mean,
on her
just
on her finger, and we'll
okay.
get
Yeah,
like
good.
dab it. And then on this, does he have like a naked tail, or is his tail furry?
Well, that's a good question.
Naked, I believe, based on
Yeah.
the
Then we will also be doing that. We will also be gently doing the tail too.
Pink tail.
Oh, we're so sunburned.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of the little mammal baby.
Go ahead and write this into your sheet. You have a cipher that essentially will let you. It makes it's going to ease survival checks if you've been out long in the wilderness. It's also going to function as an insect repellent.
Nice.
Which
Who is this for?
this is for Ozzy.
Yeah.
Oh,
As that's going to hand it to Ozzy. So it has 6 more uses.
Nice.
love that. That will be my cipher then. I have
Mm-hmm.
Anne cipher.
6
I
uses.
think Joe is relatively unsunburnt. Like she's definitely like got the like freckle blast, maybe the tips of her ears kind of a thing, but she was very committed to the just absolutely drenched in sweat. She was not kidding when she said she's smelly. Like she was committed to the long sleeves and with like, as we saw her when she came in, was like holding a leaf over the top of her head, was so like committed to being deeply uncomfortable to avoid the sunburn. So I think maybe like her knuckles and like sometimes and occasionally like the tips of her ears are like a little bit pink, but she mostly I think avoided.
I think I was probably
being
mostly
gas.
careful, and I just had one bad day.
Yes, yeah.
One bad day of hubris, and
Mhm.
and it was over.
You're describing my childhood at the water parks in Texas. Every time I went to Schlitterbahn, I was like, "No, I can handle this." And no,
I could not. In fact,
it was
handle this.
peeling. There was agonizing.
So I will let you take over the rest of the aloe. I'm busy giving Vern scritchies and distraction so that aloe can do the job before, so that like there isn't like the sneezer or the like grooming it off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I assume Atticus, we were able to coax Atticus out, who was just laying belly down in the water with his head on the shore. Is just like.
If you want him to be,
I think
I can take over
he needs
Atticus
some water.
tonight.
Yeah, you can take Atticus. He
Atticus
needs to be in some water.
Atticus isn't necessarily belly down, or even Atticus does this thing where Atticus will stop and doesn't want to move, and there are times where you're like, "You okay, buddy?" And Atticus will just suddenly like it's one of those. As somebody who's grown up on cattle ranches, sometimes cows will just stop, like, and stand there.
Reset.
They'll just
Cycling.
stop. They'll just be like, "This is good.
I'm good here." Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I don't need to move. I don't need to do a damn thing. I'm just gonna stand here."
No, he doesn't need to do anything. I think Joe's gonna go around and just like it does literally anything with how small the quantity is compared to how large he is, but like handfuls of water, like you do with the baby, like when you like pour water like by the handful when you like wash a baby, and he's like going around like on his more just like for the ritual of it as opposed to doing any genuine cooling down for him, but like.
It's also reminding you of what it was like when as a kid, when you learned very quickly that you simply cannot hand feed a trike with water. Their beak makes it impossible and dangerous. So they need to submerge half their head into the water to drink. And so it's kind of bringing back that funny memory you had as a kid, because back then Atticus was still old and still did not, as another trike might have tried, did not go for the water, as little bitty Joe Hand reached up and was trying to give Atticus water.
You can't like give him anything.
What I was also trying to tell you though with this cipher is that it is not per use. In other words, if you use it and then you pass it to Joe and she uses it, you've still only had one use. You
so like a once per scene kind of
exactly
use.
Yes, so everybody could use it.
So in that spirit, I'm going to at least look around to see whether Clover decided to join us or whether Clover's off doing their own thing.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is Clover here?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions to figure that out.
Yes.
were we the last 3 people in that room?
Oh, that's a great question.
That was how it was narrated.
Unless there
and
were
now we're
NPCs.
here, and I
Right.
don't know,
Well-
and I just blacked out. I don't remember a thing. It wasn't until later when I was watching the
Yes. Well, welcome to the cinematic style of roleplay, where you just wake up in another scene one day. So the only other person that was actually in that room was a kid that you guys had just rescued.
But
Oh,
Tezin?
he ran off.
Tezin
He ran
left.
off.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Peasant did leave.
The
Peasant
biscuit
took off.
fiasco.
Yeah.
we can
Yes.
actually see Bruno chasing after Zippy in the
Right.
background in
Oh, right.
any given
right.
scene
Yeah.
outdoors we want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
So,
yeah, y'all were the
okay.
last ones in. Did you want to?
Yeah, I think Clover. Maybe if you two filter out to go wash up with Dahlia, Clover would start to follow, but then just like, oh, the curiosity.
You have to head back into the lab.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
want to give it a once over.
Yeah.
Check out the tech. See
Okay.
if I understand what things do.
Sure. Yeah. No, it makes sense. As you step back into, first of all, as you step back into the laboratory, once again, Clover, climate control hits you. You know that there have been miracles created by the science and technology of the people from Kaleno City and the first commuters. But AC, my gods, this is decadence. This is fantastic. And as you step into the room, you immediately feel your entire body respond as you are blasted with chilled air that's being recycled through an endless loop. And then as the door closes up behind you, some of the lights automatically begin to activate, sensing the presence of somebody who's just entered. You see some of the terminals begin to light up, and you see a holographic map of Silvercreek. You also see, it looks like after everyone left, it looks like Dr. Molina came back in here because one of the files has been accessed, and you see the computer terminal is actually activated. You can see this flat screen, sort of like glassy, flat computer board that has a holographic projection overhead, interacts with, you touch, you can almost activate it like hard light. You can see it's like walking into a room and seeing somebody who left the monitor on. You can see what they were working on. And you see a couple of files that have been pulled up. And the first thing you see when you look at the file is a face you think you've seen before, a name you've definitely heard before. You see what looks like a young woman who has kind of a, judging from the expression on her face, she's one of those people that even when she's having her resting face, she still looks like she's kind of smiling a little bit. You move over and kind of squint as you look at her, and you see below it has medical files, updates and whatnot. And the name underneath it says Echo. Tracks that she's been missing for the past 6 years after departing to Appalachia with one of her closest companions and also a member of Silvercreek.
I'm going to say that Clover, not growing up in a normal community, probably might not inherently know, the privacy of medical records.
Sure.
So she's going to read it.
Okay. You sift through it. You see a lot of little things. It looks like Melina just kept track of all the treatments that she's given the kids that have grown up here in Silvercreek over the years. For a woman that's pushing well into her hundreds, she's delivered a lot of babies. And judging from what you're seeing in some of the medical records, she is not a medical doctor. As it turns out, you get more and more of the impression that she got her early start in genetics. And that's kind of branched out into whatever else that she could get her hands on to learn. And kind of scrolling through, you come across the next file, Penny. Penny, it's much the same thing. Penny apparently liked to get injured a lot when they were little. You get the impression that Echo and Penny probably got up to a lot of shenanigans over the course of their lives. And to no surprise, and following the trajectory of some of the shenanigans that they would get into, it looks like they left together. There's a little entry that you see at the bottom that Melina has made A lot of it is just sort of a clinical reflection over events that took place concerning the butterflies and data that was uncovered at something that you've never heard of before. You kind of squint as you lean in. There is a SATI bunker nearby. There's a reference to a bunker. The significance of that, Lisa, is that SATI bunkers are very rare, and they are usually like research outposts that SATI created when they first came out here. They're scattered throughout pretty much all of Laramedia, up and down the coast. They didn't document all the bunkers that they made, and some of them were secret. Some of them contain technologies. Some of them contain data. Some of them even actually might have some first commuters still living in them. But think of them as like fallout shelters from ancient time that might have some advanced technology. There's one here in Silvercreek, and it's referenced. Interestingly enough. SATI bunker 000E.
000E?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any indication of the location, like a map or anything like that?
Red Jaw Wilds. Apparently there is a collection of rocks in the Red Jaw Wilds that simply just marked forbidden. And as you kind of wince and look down, you see what looks like an area of the map that has been with an annotation near it indicating that it is no bueno. Nobody goes there. You are not allowed there. Nobody from Silvercreek is allowed to approach the bunker.
Interesting. Okay. Gonna mentally catalog that.
Okay.
Is there anything else in these files that looks of interest to me?
If you have any kind of computer skills, you can make a roll here. I know you're a tech.
Sure.
So
Sure.
what you got?
Well, I have mine is a little bit, it's not really software. Here, I'll tell you what I have.
Okay.
I have skills in physics and electrical engineering.
Okay.
And then I have machine interface skill. So I can get, for 1 minute, I can gain an asset on tasks to discern the level, function, and activation of technological devices I touch.
Oh, first of all, that's amazing because that's going to come in handy for all sorts of brilliant reasons, but that would definitely come into play here.
I figured in this room I would want to touch some things and find things out.
I mean, yeah, you get to play with it.
Yeah. For the computer stuff, though, I might not have anything for it. The other thing I have is crossed wires. So I have a remote device that renders one cybernetic or biorobotic creature within long range unable to function for 1 round.
Oh, cool.
Not applicable here.
Yeah, not applicable here.
And then I have discovered dinosaurs. So that's like a survival skill.
So go ahead and make your roll then. Using that, you can use this as an asset. It is going to be, this is behind a firewall. There is a security system to this.
Okay. Which one am I using? Machine interface, you think? Or?
The machine interface, the one that lets you basically fiddle with tech and then reduce the difficulty in like figuring out how to use it. What is the wording on that specifically?
The wording is for 1 minute. So I spend 2 intellect points.
Okay.
And for 1 minute, you gain an asset on tasks to discern the level, function, and activation of technological devices that you touch.
Okay, cool. So then you won't be able to. So this is a role. This essentially is going to let you determine how risky it is to hack into this or to try to gain access. So that's good because it's kind of giving you an idea of what you're risking.
Cool. If I activate this, can I also use it to touch some other things in this room for a minute?
You can, but
that's how I was going to initially use it. But
yeah, you want to just kind of give a scope out of the entire room.
Yeah. But if you're willing to use it for the computer too, then thank you.
Yeah. I mean, everything in here is based off of computer technologies. So there's a lot of machines in here as well. But yes, I would allow that to apply. So go ahead. I'm going to set this. This is not going to be easy. I'm going to set it at challenging. However, you do have that's going to immediately cause it to ease 1 step. So it's going to drop down to difficult. So difficulty level is 4. You need a 12 or better on a D20.
Okay.
Or you spend effort.
Okay. So you already dropped it down based on
I took into account your ability there. Yeah.
Okay. And I spent those 2 intellect points for that. So I would like to also spend a level of effort.
Okay.
So that'll drop me down 2 more intellect points. because of my edge. So 13 out of 19. What does that get me now? To
So you dropped it down. You dropped it down. How many levels from that?
One
level?
more.
Okay, so 12 is going to drop down to 3. You need a 9 or better.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go for that.
It's a demanding roll, but you can do it.
Rolling a d20. They know why.
They know why.
I'll tell y'all later.
We all know why. It's a good story.
I'll tell the chat later.
It's a good story.
Oh, I got a 16.
16.
Yeah, and I'm realizing I definitely rolled d12s last week because I never. Oh my god.
Yeah.
This confirms it. Yeah, I was rolling really low last week.
It's that's the story, y'all.
That's the story.
That's
Elisa was rolling a d12 last week without realizing it. I think everyone's done it at least once.
Oh god.
So, all right.
Okay.
So, first of all, you know a little bit because the butterflies trained you with technology so that you know how to break technology. So they've given you a heads up of what to look for and how to get in, and specifically regarding Sati. You're pretty sure there's an AI in the system. It's probably monitoring everything that's happening right now. So there's a good chance that if you leave any keystrokes or like start fiddling with things, the AI is going to log everything. So there's that. Some of the machinery, though, around here, a lot of it, to confirm what that internal monologue that you were not aware that Joe was having, there is indeed what looks like to be a deep space telescope in the back of the facility that is kind of like a miniature planetarium back there, to track the skies. You also see there's all sorts of tech in here. It looks like this may have been a genetics lab that has been converted into an all-purpose laboratory for Silvercreek. What you see here is an engineering bay, lots of materials, like lots of synthesized. You basically see the equivalent of a 3D printer here that is capable of synthesizing a lot of organic material into what they need. One of the things that you do note, though, is that as you move closer to one of the terminals, you spot something that you specifically have been trained to look for as a former butterfly. And that is the Achilles heel of technology. The power source. There is a small electroplasmatic battery that is running this entire facility. It's sort of like safe nuclear power. Think of it like that. Doesn't actually use any splitting of the atom, as it were, or any radiological energy sources, but instead is capable of generating an enormous amount of energy almost indefinitely. They, just like many devices like them, can be highly explosive if not maintained properly. This one looks like it's in good shape. It also looks like there is an emergency power unit that relies upon solar power. But what really strikes you from looking at this, you're pretty sure that underneath this facility, this plasma battery that is charging this research facility, it's probably powering the entire community. It's probably the power source for all. You might be looking at the beating heart of Silvercreek right now, underneath the floor of the research lab.
Wow.
That's what you see in here.
Okay, great. And so the AI, so the computer result is that, okay, if I mess around with that, they're going to know. Okay, so.
Quick question. I have to time out real quick because I need to make sure. Does everybody have at least 1 XP in their pool?
Oh, did we get XP last time?
Yeah, so technically, yes, you should have gotten XP last time. So I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody you should have at least 2 XP in your pool right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Then, yes, we do.
Okay, good. Because I'm throwing a GM intrusion at you right now.
Ooh, okay.
Which you can reject by paying me 1 of those XP, or you can accept it
Okay.
and gain an XP.
I have to tell you now before you tell me what it is. Okay.
You can reject it, and then you have to pay off 1 XP to reject it.
I want to know what it is. Tell me, like, let's do it. I'll take it.
Okay, you're going to take it, in which case you gain 1 XP and you get to hand 1 XP out to somebody else.
Oh, yay. Okay. Do I do that now too?
Forgot about that part. I love that. I love that part of Cypher.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Noir.
Okay, cool. That's good. Nora's probably going to need it where Nora's going.
Wait, what does that mean? Am I in danger?
I mean, never. Of course not.
Yes, of course you are.
I mean, do you know where we are? There's dinos.
You hear behind you.
Turn around. Hold my breath.
You see a gentleman who stands roughly 6 feet tall. Judging from his attire, he's he kind of is wearing with minus the hat and the cane. He's dressed a little bit like John Hammond from Jurassic Park. He's got the white button up that goes down to about mid thigh and the very flowing white pants with boots on underneath. He looks pretty old. You're guessing he's probably somewhere around Melina's age, but hasn't carried it quite as well as Melina has. He also looks like he is suffering a little bit from his size at his age. Whatever they've got going on in the future, they clearly still haven't been able to compensate for the fact that if you live most of your life built like a tank, by the time you turn 100, muscle degradation, the natural course of time and all of that taking place, it clearly, judging from the way this guy moves and how he's hunched a little bit, he's probably spent most of his life in action. It doesn't take much for a butterfly like you who has seen warriors before to think that this guy who's probably well past his 100th birthday was probably somebody who spent a lot of time fighting. You do not recognize him at all. And he clears his throat again and just says, well, I would have told you were a friend, but here you are sneaking around the laboratory like a rat.
Oh, no, not sneaking. Just curious.
A butterfly curiously sneaking around our laboratory. Are you actually curious, or are you looking for something to break?
I'm not a butterfly anymore.
Really?
Really? I actually really like technology, and she just starts blabbering. She's not very good socially. She just
okay. Please stop. Please,
so
I
that
don't
over
have
there
very long
looks
to
really
live. No, please stop.
I just want to know, does this so it's organic material? Does that mean you can actually like print cells that are alive, or just the material for cells?
Cloning cells is not challenging at all. We
Oh
do
my
this
God!
all the
Really?
time. Yes.
Oh wow!
This is an old technology.
What? That's incredible. That's just incredible.
Oh.
And what about this over here? This is a solar power unit. I thought I invented that because I made one back at the camp, the butterfly camp, and then they broke it when they found it. I hid it for like 3 years, and I just kept improving on it and iterating, and then they found it and they broke it.
I think I'm starting to believe you.
Yeah, I'm the least butterfly of all butterflies, probably.
You are a nerd. Yes.
A what? What does that mean?
You have much to learn, and I would be happy to teach you all of the slanderous remarks for people who think too much like yourself. But first, do me a favor, and could you scoot this chair over here? I wish to speak with you.
Sure.
Now that you're here, and I am here. Push over the chair, and he eases himself down, and he says, I am Dr. Adrian Becker. I am former Sati. I am a first commuter. I am not long for this world. And I am former head of security of the militia here at Silvercreek. And though I no longer have the position, I still like to meet people who come into my community, especially ones like yourself, who, though no longer a butterfly, used to run with people who wished harm upon me and mine. You, however, you belong here. I can tell by listening to you. You're too gentle to be butterfly.
Oh, okay.
Do you not agree with this?
I mean, they made us do a lot of stuff that I didn't like.
He nods and starts waving his head. No. Whatever happens here in this conversation, know this. What is your name?
Clover.
Clover. Do not have to speak about your past if you do not want to. I am only interested in who Clover is now and what Clover wants to do now that she is in Silvercreek.
Clover tears up a little at that and tries to hold it back and not show it, but she's like, "Oh, thanks. Cool. Okay. What were you going to tell me?"
I was going to violate the very thing I just said, but I'll keep it brief. I was going to tell you about me. A little bit, so that you understood. So, I used to work for Sati. I was security in Kaleno City. They did not call it Kaleno City back then. It was Sati Site 01 back then. Before the Bone Wall was built. Back before the Great Howling. I tell you this because I wish you to know that I too came from a group of people that I thought of as family who were not as gentle as I was. You are in the right place now. I made my point before I tell you the story. None of this matters now. The point is, if you wish to look at science, the person to talk to is Yen. He is the one to speak to. He will help you. He's sort of the local fool. I can introduce you to him. What is that, Piper calls him dumbass because he takes on too much work. He is a researcher, a biologist, part-time nurse, and he also is the expert in farming and dinosaur behavior. He's probably out there right now, squatting in triceratops shit, watching the great herds fuck each other and smash their heads together. I can't say I appreciate his lifestyle, but you'll probably appreciate him. He's a good man. So, I'll send him in your direction as soon as he gets back and washes shit off of him. And if you want, I can have Yen put you to work.
I would really like that. Thank you.
What did you do for the butterflies? And don't have to tell me specifics, but your skills, what are they? You said you liked technology.
Yeah. So we all kind of learned survival and dinosaur behavior to track them down and make decisions, about like if they have cybernetics, then we had to put them down and take the cybernetics and break them.
Oh, yes.
And I hated that job so much. And one day I found this sweet little baby pterosaur and I just couldn't do it. So I hit her. And then they found out years later and tried to kill us both, so I ran.
What happened to your pterosaur?
Oh, she's here. She's outside. I know it sounds like she died or something.
Yes, I thought it was a sad story. This is a good story. Scary, but good.
I just get really scared when I think about it because she's like my best friend now. Like, what would I do without her?
And you said she has cybernetics. Well, this is going to make Yen very happy. As I said, he's very much a fan of dinosaurs and biology and metal things. Well,
when she was old enough, I learned how to hack into her cybernetics, and I made these goggles, and she shows the goggles that are around her neck, and so I can like see through her eyes. And I always ask her for consent, just like give her a nice snack, make sure she's chill and stuff.
Turned your pterosaur into an observation drone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. I am going to introduce you. Oh no, I think you may have actually met. Yes, I think you met Zach already.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you and Zach are going to get along just fine. Survival instincts and protecting dinosaurs. This is what Zach does. He's in line to become the next protector of Silvercreek if, God forbid, anything should happen to Piper. You.
Wow.
So, it's past time for me to go and rest for a bit, but I wanted to get a measure of you myself, since Piper is up on the wall, as she always is, and I cannot stop working. Don't get caught in here alone when Melina gets back. She is very protective of her laboratory space.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I'll go now. Yeah, it's fine. It's cool.
His
Thank you.
eyes slowly glance over, and this is where the GM intrusion kicks in.
Oh crap.
Notices the file that's open. And
I
the
didn't
data-
open that. She's
data
gonna say that
that-
immediately. I didn't. It was open. I didn't do that.
He moves over to the screen and he looks at it and sees and says, "Oh, Echo. Oh, Echo and Penny." He taps the keyboard. We lose too many here sometimes in Silvercreek. It's very difficult when we lose a member of the community. We're very small here. Don't know whatever happened to these two, but you would have liked them. Penny. Oh. What is it? Pain in the ass, I think, is what I constantly heard referred. But I am going to do you a favor, and you're going to owe me.
Okay.
And his demeanor shifts a little bit as he leans over and he points and says, and he points at the Sati bunker site. Worth security to know that you've seen this. Worst thing you could do right now, my new friend, is lie to me. I'm very good at knowing when people are lying to me. It will help us both. You saw this, didn't you?
Okay, I said I didn't open it. I didn't say I didn't look at it. I didn't lie to you.
He nods and says, good, good. A good first step. Here's my favor that I'm doing for you, and you will owe me for this. Tell no one that you saw this, not Melina, not anyone. And especially, do not tell your butterfly friends.
Definitely not. No.
And don't ever go there.
Bye.
Because it will give you false hope. He slowly rises again and says, I'm going to bed now. I've been cross-examined, as they say. And just like Melina, moves slowly out the door, leaving you once again alone to the laboratories. You can't help but glance back down at Sati Site 000E.
False hope.
Then you hear a thunking noise at the door.
Oh God.
It doesn't open, you just hear a thunking noise at the door.
Like after he just left, or
A few moments after he left. I mean, you
So-
can see through the frosted windows that it looks like there's a pterosaur that's trying to press its face up against the door to see inside.
oh, okay. I go to the door and I open it.
So, yeah.
Sweets is just immediately in your business.
Sweet is immediately in your business.
Hi, sweet. I'll rub her cheek. Hey, okay, let's get out of here. Did you have a good day today? She goes, Do you like the camp?
Sweets, you have no idea what the hell she is saying to you, but my God, she's using that tone of voice that denotes excitement, and you find yourself getting excited for some reason. You love it. You don't know why it happened.
Sweets is doing that thing that birds do where they just kind of prop up on their legs and start flapping their wings.
Yeah.
Buffeting the ground a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you had such a good day today.
Just the ear-piercing screech.
Scaring
my
the- You scare the hell out of a small hadrosaur that was being led across the way by the small child that was trying to teach it to walk when it needed it to walk. The hadrosaur lets out a loud bleeding sound and begins to run up ahead. And just like Eric, when he was young, trying to teach his dog Bandit to use the leash, you get dragged. You see this kid get dragged a good 10, 15 feet in the dirt that's filled with both screaming and laughter as this baby hadrosaur screams and runs away. While all of this is happening, is we have a three-way party split.
Please split the party.
Who would like to have the next scene as things begin to unfold? What's going
All right.
on? Yeah, I would actually really like to know what's going on with Joe and Ozzy right now, because this is actually the first time the two of you have managed to be by yourselves in a moment of reprieve, like kind of enjoying yourself a little bit and letting yourself relax a bit. Dahlia has decided to head back into Silvercreek, which is like a 10-minute walk. And the two of you are out here near the rocks. Water is lapping against the mud.
I
Missed
think
spot.
I'm adrenaline crashing. Sorry. What were you saying?
You missed a spot. I mean, I know you've washed like your entire body 3 times, but I'm pretty sure you missed a spot.
I'm just going to accept that as fact from here on out,
Yeah.
as the
better get
state
that
of
spot.
everything seems to be mud.
Yeah. State of mud. Forever.
Did you really suspect people were following us for the first 100 miles?
I didn't know they weren't. You don't lie to an abuela, but we didn't have any
know.
reason to think that they were.
This is true.
We think I still think they might wanna, but that doesn't mean that they can or they have. And this is really far, and it sucked to get here. So I'm not assuming they know, but I'm not assuming they won't eventually like stuff like that building doesn't get built that they wouldn't have been aware of it in Kalina or something. They have to
guess-
have old records or something that this exists here.
I guess logically, they would be way more suited to have tracked us down if they were going to. Maybe it would have been done already.
Right. So earlier on, they have the equipment advantage, and then later on, we have the search radius advantage. That was my thought. But I don't know they're not gonna come. And the thing Dr. Molina said about the families makes me feel guilty.
Yes, I believe that was her intent.
It worked.
Yeah. She seems like she knows what she's doing. Maybe if I can get access to someone's computer, I could try to skim some stuff from Kaleno and see if I can find any mention of any kind of search. Maybe just ease our minds a little bit, but
Would that alert them?
unclear.
Oh,
I mean, if they were going to know that it was gone, they would already know that it was gone.
they know it's gone.
So we wait? Or you do something with it at this point, which I might add, I've been very patient in understanding what the rest of your plan is to have with it.
I think I
And-
have one now.
Okay, thank you, thank God. Please please, for the love of everything,
There's
elaborate.
equipment here. We analyze it.
Okay.
By we, I want to be absolutely crystal here. You analyze it.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks.
We have to know what it does, how it works, and how much it can work. 'Cause I messed around with it a little, and it's real. I don't know how big real, I don't know how small real, but it's not real. And it still works. And I'm gonna open my bag just enough that you can see just the Pulp Fiction-esque glow. We don't get to say it, but like we see that. It's my second in a week. There we go. Culture that I haven't seen.
Well,
See the lights blink, and it did stuff when I pushed the button.
So at this point, the information that we have and can confirm is that it has power still. Okay. Well, the only lab situation that seems to be happening here is Dr. Molina. So that we're going to have to get her permission to use her lab. I don't have any of my lab to be able to do any kind of anything besides this. And she kind of like taps like a pack that is pretty flat. That's kind of just like a thigh bag that's like strapped around the waist and around the mid thigh, and it has like her minuscule like her base tools and like maybe a small like tech piece. That's not enough. If it is what you think it is, which at this point I am still wary, I don't have the tools to look at it, which means we need to make friendly with the owner of the only lab in about 400-mile radius. So if you want to spearhead that, I will do whatever you want.
What does it mean, spearhead, in this context?
Please don't kill anyone. We just need to make friends with Dr. Molina, because I will not disrespect her lab. That woman has... It's beautiful. Yeah, I know you were in there, but
it's air conditioned. You had me.
It's okay. Okay, yes, it's air conditioned. I would work in that lab even without the air conditioning. That is what I will say to you. It is a time capsule.
If she doesn't want the thing here, do you want to stay?
If she doesn't want it here, then I assume we have to leave. I don't know what our choice is. We are two against this entire community. I believe they would easily overpower us if that were the case.
I put my hand on your shoulder. It would have to leave. Do you want to stay?
In this instance, you're suggesting we split up.
I already dragged you 400 miles away.
In this instance, you're suggesting we split up. Is that correct?
I would be such a jerk if I didn't at least put it out there. Right? Would I not? Would I not just be the worst jerk ever if I just assumed you wanted to leave?
Well, you're not assuming. Air conditioning. I'm just clarifying the bounds of this hypothetical that you're pitching to me right now.
Okay,
while
fine,
I'm adrenaline crashing in the mud in 400 miles away from my lab.
Yeah.
Then the answer is no. I got this far.
Yeah, but there's no farther. I don't... Think about it. You're adrenaline crashing. No one can make decisions on adrenaline crash. Especially not in the mud.
Actually, I mean, biologically, that's what adrenaline is for, is to be able to make better decisions with the adrenaline. And I guess on the come down...
crash. And then it's not there anymore.
But I am more clear-headed than I was while being adrenaline.
But I'm still winning the argument, so...
That's probably indicative enough.
Yeah.
You missed a spot. She flicks like mud at your face. Just like a tiny bit. Just like a splatter. Missed a spot.
Splish.
Yes, dunked. Screamed, gurgle, and Atticus grunts and blows bubbles in the water.
Yep.
While this is happening, Zach, if you could please Make me a survival check.
Okay.
And your ability to sense dinosaurs does come into play here.
Okay. I was also going to ask about danger sense as well, if I might be able to lead on that.
Is that something you spend points for?
Danger sense.
What does that do for you?
I have it here. I wrote it
I
down.
think that's an initiative bonus, but
Oh, you're right. It is an initiative
That's what I
bonus.
thought.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Isn't
All
there
right.
something you have with detecting danger? Don't you? Isn't it related to initiative?
Yeah, that's the one that is the initiative. That's the
Right.
danger sense one.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll me a d20, but you're going to get to ease it by 1. I'm going to set the difficulty of this at 3, so it's going to start. You're going to need a difficulty 2, so you'll need a 6 or better.
All right, there is one other thing that I'd like to argue for, just to see if it might help me. And that is discover dinos, discover dinosaurs.
Is that a skill?
That is, in fact, the skill. Yes,
Because you can only use one skill at a time when it comes to easing something. So you could do one or the other, but you can't use 2 skills to ease something.
All right, then I'll just use the one that I'm already using.
Okay, cool. So in which case, yeah, you'll need a 6 or better on a d20.
Yeah, that's a 5.
Okay. You are momentarily distracted as you're heading towards the boundaries of Red Jaw Wilds. To your left, down the valley slopes, you can see the great herds of trikes. It looks like it's thinned out a little bit. Some of the younger males have probably given up because once you get into a fight with one of the other males and you break a horn or lose, that's the end of mating season for you.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's thinned out a little bit. But it's still something of a raver going on down there. As you're moving towards the boundaries of the woods, you're distracted ever so briefly by the raucous call of Kimmy, who is just very excited to be coming near the outskirts of the Red Jaw Wilds. And in that moment, with the grass has grown tall as it's early spring, you completely miss that the indentation you just stepped into and out of as you're heading towards is in fact the footprint of a large predator. Completely missing it as you begin to advance towards the boundaries of the woods. And that is where we are going to pause for our break.
Oh no!
It's fine. Everything's fine except the predator. That part isn't fine.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, the predator?
Can you imagine how good the hunting would be for the predator, for the Yautja? They would be so happy.
How hard confirmed have we it was a meteor and not a predator?
We will be back in 10 minutes as we take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Cretaceous period, everyone. Let's go ahead and jump right back in where we left off. We had our intrepid adventurer, Zach, journeying off into the Red Jaw Wilds with Terra in tow and your pterosaur swimming, flying overhead. You've just moved past this large footprint that you've missed. And as you're stepping into the great ferns of these huge trees, Zach, you begin to feel the immediate sense that you are being watched. Red Jaw Wilds always gives you that feeling. This is a very dangerous area because, as you have come to know, and as many who have learned how to survive here in the Cretaceous period, the largest predators have to rely upon trees in order to ambush their prey. They're simply too large to approach out in the open and charge after them. And they are very good at moving quietly and slowly through large tree lines like this. And many of them are camouflaged and know how to use it to their advantage. Raptors in particular are very good, particularly near water sources. You're keeping track of that as you guys enter into this place. It's also worth noting that Kimmy is a little more limited here in the tree lines of Red Jaw Wilds. It's never fun. Kimmy, however, is a large enough pterosaur that when she touches down and starts walking, folding those great wings up underneath those elbow joints and just strutting along on those small legs, just kind of like a tripod like movements of like one to the other and the next. Most animals get out of the way. Pterosaurs are predatory onto their own nature, and so a lot of them just don't want to deal with it. But Red Jaw Wilds is where they tell you to always keep your guard up, and that you could be hunted and not know it, journeying through here. So as soon as you guys enter into the wilds, you see pulling those curls back, tying it up tight. You see Tara is taking all the precautions, so she's just immediately starts looking around, puts her hair in the tie, immediately unclasps a small dagger, slides it into a sheath that's up on her chest, and readies her glaive, and she goes, all right. Always fun.
Always fun. You got a lock on anything?
She squats down and touches the soil and runs her hands over it for a second. She just opens her mouth and starts breathing in and smelling the air at the same time, just almost like a crocodile does. And you see her take a few moments to take it all in. She goes, fucking trikes are making it hard to smell anything else right now.
Yeah, they tend to get this way around this season.
You know what that's going to mean, though? It's going to mean it's going to be hard to smell anything else coming nearby or hear anything else coming nearby. But if there's this many trikes nearby, you can bet your ass there's going to be some big sharp tooth wandering around out here.
Yeah, it's a feeding frenzy. It's just all you can eat. They just gotta find the trikes. All right. Well, let's keep moving on. We stay still, we get killed.
Okay. The two of you begin to push your way in. Kimmy doing the best that she can, following after you. Go ahead.
I think I might actually give Kimmy the gesture to, like, it's okay for you to take to the skies. Like,
Stay above the tree lines?
Yeah.
I mean, you can always call Kimmy back, much like a falcon. Kimmy will know exactly when you've exited
Yeah.
the Red Jaw Wilds, and she'll fly back. I mean, there's been more than a separate occasions where, like, sometimes in Silvercreek, a big storm hits, and they cannot keep the dinos inside the walls of Silvercreek. The best thing they can do is set them loose so that they can go fend for themselves as the storm blows by. Kimmy knows where to go, so if you need her to, she can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're gonna have to roll to give her the command, though.
Yeah, Zach's gonna walk over and just go, there's no reason for us both to be crawling in the muck. And I am gonna give her the command, and here I go rolling for it.
Okay, so it's a 3.
Let's see if I got enough badges to
You have
trade.
like an automatic drop.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should have something that helps you manage dinosaurs or communicate with dinosaurs, correct?
Oh, yes, I do. I've got Walking with Dinos, and I've got Discover Dinos, but Walking with Dinos is the one that lets me communicate with them.
Excellent. Then that's gonna immediately ease it by 1, so you need a 6 or better.
I got an 11.
Okay, Kimmy, you basically
gets it.
understand. Yeah.
Her little thing, like her little chomp that she does, not like snap, but just like the little clicks that she does with her big beak. And she'll kind of like, it'll be hard to take off here. I think she'll probably have to do a couple steps because we're in like the big tree. So like all of the like above us is the foliage of the trees kind of start to connect near the top. So she's probably gonna have to like do like a very strange takeoff and then kind of have to find a breakthrough, find an area with an open to get up and out if she's going above the trees.
Okay.
All right.
It takes her a few minutes, but Kimmy seems to find her way. After she's gone, you feel very exposed. I mean, it's already tricky with Kimmy underneath the canopy of these great trees, but now it's just you and Tara, and the two of you kind of feel like lambs out here. Your number one protective asset right now is stealth and perception.
Yeah, Zach's gonna communicate that. Just go. We've got to rely on being quiet and being fast. You ready?
She nods. Keeping conversation to a minimum, she just nods to you. And the two of you press on into the wilds. I'm going to need a stealth check from you.
Okay.
Make me a stealth check. And then, of course, during the break, you went back and reviewed the ability that you have that lets you keep track of all the big uglies that might be coming around to visit you.
Oh yeah, we're gonna use that ability.
I'm going to get a comment from Sam in a few minutes, and it's going to be, "How dare you call dinosaurs ugly?" You son of a bitch.
All right, so stealth, I will be rolling speed, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes, that is correct. It is a speed check. And that does mean if you do spend effort because of your armor rating, it's going to cost you 2 more than usual.
I'm just gonna Oh wait, I can argue to try and drop this down too, right?
If you've got skills for it, yes.
Oh.
You can spend effort. It's up to you.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna channel my inner Bonnie.
You're gonna use acrobatics somehow to mitigate.
Well, not acrobatics, but I was gonna say running and climbing with my physical skills.
Mm-hmm.
We could be traversing through the tree line. We know how to do it. Maybe.
Maybe. There was a system set up. Yeah, you're not going to be able to parkour across the trees, sadly. If there was a system, if there was a system set up like wires or anything, I mean, honestly, something to look into and maybe a project to visit with the elders at Silvercreek, because if you guys set up a canopy system on the outskirts of Red Jaw Wilds, you have a hell of an early warning system as well as a protective perimeter for predators and invaders. So maybe something worth looking into, and certainly something you can do. There's a whole crafting system in Cypher that we've barely tapped. Sam desperately tried to.
I can feel the rage.
Well,
you know what?
To be fair, Sam did make amazingly awesome heal bots for everybody that still got not used when they should have been, but it's okay. But they did.
Luma used her shield.
Yes, that's correct. Oh, that's right. I'm confusing. Wait, I thought you made them for Callisto though, didn't you? There was one point
I made those for I made those for everybody. I made the drop to 0 hit points back up to
that's what it
1
was.
for everybody, but also I think I got Hop's staff and Luma's shield actually built, like for realsies. I just didn't get time to do it for a signature item for everyone. They were used, and I will put an arbitrary number of social checks toward a zipline system in this game. I need you to know that. I will persuade so freaking hard. I will persuade.
Project.
Oh yeah, that's happening. That's happening.
By the way, before we move forward, so I do not forget, Eliza, you gain 1 XP because you not only did you already gained the XP for accepting the GM intrusion, but you gained an XP because Cypher system awards XP for exploration and discovery. And that's specifically what you were doing. You don't get XP in Cypher for killing things. You get XP for uncovering mystery, discovering stuff, turning the page, that kind of stuff. Supporting other players. Yeah. Yes. Sam.
What if I discover what the inside of my enemies look like?
That counts, yes. Yeah, no, if you stick your face inside of the chest cavity of a fallen foe, I will absolutely count that in the spirit of discovery and positivity and all the other things.
There you go, Zach. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I rolled a 16.
Okay, cool.
Yay, pride dice.
All right. Fast and small. You try to make yourself as small and as uninteresting as possible as the two of you begin to dart between large areas of ferns and bases of trees. You avoid some of the obvious trappings that some who are a little more inexperienced would fall into. For example, fallen logs. You remember being a child and thinking, when things get scary, run for a fallen log or a rock. You learned that day just how big insects can get in the Cretaceous period. The atmosphere of Earth is currently saturated with oxygen from the extraordinary amounts of biology all over the planet, causing life here on Earth to grow exceptionally large during this period. And centipedes are not tiny. So, dodging all of that, you continue to make your way through the forest floor. Did you had brought up the ability when we were at break? You don't have to do it
Yes.
now. Did you want to use that or anything
I
else?
would like to
Okay.
use it just so everybody's clear. It's discover dinos. It's 2 intellect points. You scour the area within long range, searching for any signs of current or recent dinosaur activity. If there is or was a dinosaur in this area, you discover its level and general type, as well as any additional facts the GM feels are pertinent.
Okay. Go ahead and spend your points. Those are intellect points, if I remember correctly.
Yep, I don't have many of them, but the ones I got, I'm using.
Interestingly enough, because this was brought up in chat, and I just want to point at it, spiders actually did not grow shockingly huge like you might think they did. Believe it or not, there were some big ones, but not any particularly bigger than they are today. But we'll move on because there's some of us who have arachnophobia, and we don't want to go in there. So it's about 15 or so minutes, about where you would expect, because you've left the tree line far behind you, and now you just have, again, the dappled shafts of light piercing the treetops, and a little bit of the darkness of the forest around you. The fact that it's now partly cloudy overhead is making the forest a little darker than normal. So you are paying close attention to the sounds of wildlife around you to make sure that there is no other animals that are alerting you to the oncoming onset of predators. You do have a few moments where you step across what looks like small little theropods that are just kind of darting through the underbrush, but nothing alarming. Then you come across some tracks. When you freeze and squat down, Tara joins you and squats down too, and the two of you kind of pull some of the brush and fallen needles out of the way to take a good look at what you're seeing. You see what looks like a large multi-toed footprint. From the impression, the way it's sunken into the soft soil, you would guess it's probably weighs in somewhere close to about 3.5 to 4 tons. And it immediately sparks an instinct to look around for any other signs of passage. None, no tail marks, no nothing. Two-legged. You meet Tara's gaze as the both of you mouth the word at the same time. T-Rex. At least one of them. It's not unusual for them to hunt in pairs. But if they're this close to the tree line, it's because they know the trikes are out there having a party. This set of footprints, however, does not look like it's headed in the direction of the tree line. If you had to guess, you would say this was an adult T-Rex. Hard to say how old the track is, though. But your instinct tells you probably still in the area. Doesn't look like Stripe's footprint. Not big enough.
Tara, it's very important that you understand and agree to everything that I'm about to say to you. If we come across this T-Rex and I give you the order to run, you are to run. No hesitation, okay?
She nods.
Good. Keep moving, stay quiet, stay small, stay boring.
She nods again.
And we are going. I've got rations to deliver. We're gonna keep. We're gonna keep pressing. But like, it's we're very much in skittish cat territory, where like even the slightest branch noise that makes us stop, take account of everything, and then continue. Like we are on eggshells right now.
Okay. You press a little deeper into the woods. It's another 30 minutes or so. Now the tree line is well behind you, and you're coming closer and closer to the marker that indicates your proximity to the Watchtower. You see Tara freeze suddenly. She stops in her tracks and just taps her ear. You pause for a minute because you used your ability. You pause for a minute. The baritone is so low that your ears mistook it for just sort of a background din of nature. But it takes a moment where you hear it almost seems like a rhythmic pulsing for a second. And focusing on it, your instinct is already telling you you're hearing an animal. And then you're hearing this deep, just like thrumming. It's a quick sidebar. Because you used your ability, because it's still active, your Karn, who walks with dinosaurs, would know that unlike modern day films and how they are depicted, T-Rexes do not roar. Out here, they make closed mouth vocalizations. They do not need to roar and scream. Just like crocs and alligators, they don't have to open their mouth to communicate over a large distance. And because they are so big, they use bass sounds because they travel over an extraordinary distance. You feel this deep thrumming growl. It must be resonating from quite a distance away, but you can feel it in your bones. It activates this primal instinct to run in terror. But you sit there and sit in it for a second, resisting the temptation to flee in a panic like other animals are probably doing in the vicinity right now. Also, if a T-Rex is vocalizing out there right now, it may not be hunting. So you kind of catch yourselves looking at each other for a moment and waiting. And it occurs to you, being the expert Karn here, and she's kind of looking to you for advice, you begin to realize to your relief, Zach, it's distant and it's probably moving away.
I'm just gonna give the sign to stay quiet, stay low, and let's move.
She nods. Could be a window of opportunity because if there's a T-Rex out there making some noise, it's very likely the smaller predators are giving it a wide space.
Yeah, but at this point, I think it's gonna be bow in hand. At this point, like just in case.
You pull that
just in case
back.
His measurement is wrong.
Sort of like Zero Dawn style technological looking bow that's kind of a mix of modern and advanced technologies. Kind of glows a little softly as you pull it tight just to make sure that the strings are good to go. It kind of folds in with a as it goes into a compact shape, and you begin to move quietly. And you reach the marker, indicating that you're at the base of the tree where the Watchtower is located. You can see some of the vine work here that's been deliberately installed and kind of blends in with a little bit of the tree. The tree itself is, yes, Jody, massive. It looks like it's about a good, you could walk, or it would take you a good 20 seconds to walk the diameter around this tree and back. Nice little trek around the side. The Watchtower itself is probably about 100 feet up.
Nothing's easy. I'm gonna help Tara up first.
Okay. She just grabs hold of one of the vines and starts putting herself into the small harness that's been set up here and hidden.
Once she's clear, I'm gonna follow behind and
okay.
Immediately head to whoever needs these rations. Hunger is not something to play with.
As y'all start putting yourselves in the harnesses to get lifted up, you hear a sharp whistle overhead. As it's too far to call down, you recognize somebody just waving, a small form up in the trees that's built up there, waving down to you, indicating that they're ready to pull you up. They've spotted you.
All right, yeah. Then we're just making our way up to the top. I'm gonna take a deep sigh of relief and go. All things considered, nice little stroll.
Now we have to go back. She shrugs with a smile on her face.
I'm sure it'll be just as interesting as to walk here.
All right. When you get to the top, after a beautiful ascent, where you get to look out over this great forest and the harness slowly being raised up, raised up, raised up. The sounds of the forest become something of a soft din down below. Up here, it's different. You can hear a lot of the wildlife that lives above the treetops. Not so many in the treetops. Although you do spot, as you're coming up, about maybe 60 feet away, probably the largest bee nest you've ever seen in your life. It's a colony that looks like it takes up a large swath of one of these tree branches, and there is a black swarm of moving shapes around it. You can hear them easily from up here. Probably a bee nest that's the size of what we would consider a small car. And it looks like it's just built up onto the side. Maybe about 60 feet up.
I hate bees.
She smirks as she's being lifted up. She says, "You can hate bees all you want, but I see lots and lots of honey."
You'll earn it.
I'll earn it. I'll get that honey.
Make sure you get enough to share for the rest of us.
Oh, now you want my honey.
Oh, I love
I have
honey. I hate
I have
bees.
to go get it for you, huh? That's the way this is working?
Well, considering that I saw a certain someone almost freeze to death at the mere thought of a T-Rex,
Damn right.
I think you owe me one.
Oh, I owe you. Okay. She's got a smile on her face. You guys reach the top. You recognize the gentleman up here as a guy named Becker. Vekker. Call him Vec for short. He's an older gentleman, probably in his maybe late 50s. Judging from the weather-worn skin, he has spent most of his time doing exactly what you do. He spends his time outside, running around, risking his life, fighting and helping dinosaurs. When you get to the top, he says, "There you are. Let me pull you up. Please tell me you brought me some food."
Sorry it's late, but here is the rations that you were owed.
Thank you. Don't mind me. I'm just going to sit down and have my first meal in a day.
For someone stationed on a tree, you would think you'd use the shade to avoid getting such a wicked tan.
Nothing's going to save me from that now. I spent too much time on the chalk road. Do you have any trouble getting out here? As he goes and he sits down, he leans up against this balcony to give you an idea of where you guys are right now. I encourage you not to necessarily picture Ewok Village, because what you see up here on this tree is a little more technologically advanced. It looks like some of the tech has actually been used to create metal platforms that are secured perfectly into the sides of the tree. You know this was done because some of the tech that is used up here can help camouflage a lot of the harnesses and stuff like that. There is force field technology that is used up here. It's not very reliable, sadly, because it needs to be maintained. It's over 100 years old. But for the most part, you have yourself a small little fortress capable of holding up to 12 people. So he leans up against one of these metal railings that overlooks the forest. Anybody else who didn't know how safe it was up here would be horrified by the height and the sheer drop that's behind him. But like some kind of badass that he is, he just leans up against the railing like he's immortal and starts eating these ration packs. You see him peel them open and goes, synthesized eggs. I've been looking forward to this one.
You know, there's nothing wrong with going out and hunting.
I know. I've just had so many bad experiences hunting in the Red Jaw.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'll get on the folks back at HQ to make sure that your next batch of rations aren't so late. Can't have you being hungry up here.
What's going on back at the creek? Any news? Anything I need to know about?
Horny trike said we got ourselves a butterfly in the mix.
He lowers his food and looks at you for a second. He goes, "Butterfly at Silvercreek. Anyone we know?"
Can't say that I'm too familiar, but then again, you know I try to avoid.
Do you hear the name Aldane get thrown around?
Can't say that I did.
Jesus Christ, Zach. I ask for news. What are you doing? You're not bringing me anything. You tell me
Well,
juicy information like that, and then you're like, I don't know.
Well, it's called keeping you apprised and wanting. Now you've got something to want.
I've
the
got
next
something to
time I
live
come
for.
here.
Yep. Nope. It's good. It's good.
Really, you should have that tan looked at. You're starting to lobster.
Oh, it's fine. I'll feel it in a few days, and I'll get treated as usual, and we'll move on. How are you doing, Tara? She just smiles as she pulls out her own rations and starts eating. She goes, came across some Rex tracks on the way here. He nods and goes, I saw a few of them pass below me about 2 days ago. A pair of them. Figured they'd probably be here because of the herd. I didn't know how big the herd had gotten, though.
Any signs of stripes?
No sign of stripe. Not this season, anyway. But if there's strikes out there mating, Stripe will be here in just a matter of time. This is her territory. If I see 2 T-Rexes wandering around without Stripe nearby, she's going to get angry. She's going to find out they're here. Though she's not stupid enough to attack a pair. She'll probably try to catch them when they're not next to each other.
Either way, that could lead to chaotic work for us. We should monitor the situation. Speaking of, he's gonna kind of look.
Make a perception check.
Yep.
Yep.
Here
If
we
you've
go.
got anything that'll help you monitor, you can see out over the canopy of trees. This is one of the tallest trees near the tree line of the Red Jaw. So go ahead and make your roll.
I've got nothing.
Okay, so it's a standard roll, but I'm increasing the difficulty because A, it's gotten darker out, and B, you're looking through tree branches. So it's going to be a little challenging. I'm going to set the difficulty at 4 to need a 12 or better.
Cool.
You can spend effort using intellect.
I do not have enough intellect points to spend.
That's fair. Yeah, and getting exhausted out here is not a good idea.
Yep. So I did roll a 15.
Okay.
I forgot what the DC was.
It was 12. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
no,
yeah.
you needed. All right. You glance out. Takes you a moment as you kind of focus and look through the trees, and oh man, that is a very dark horizon. As you glance out over the mountain sky, looks like it's probably blowing in from across the Spine Mountains just to the west of Silvercreek, so it's probably a couple of days away. But judging from the sheer size, it's either a hell of a rainstorm or worse.
Tara, I'm just gonna point.
She looks. She glances out, kind of studies it for a moment, and she goes, "Think it's a hurricane?"
I think whatever it is, it'd be much better if we knew about it in advance and we buckled down for it. So we're gonna need
sliding
to get
into camera frame. You see Beck go, "Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I was too busy looking at the big dinos at my feet."
You should probably start noticing that.
Well, someone was supposed to relieve me yesterday. No one showed up.
I'll make sure that whoever missed that assignment doesn't hear the end of it.
Good, because I need to be relieved, and I need to know, am I being called down if there's going to be some kind of storm blowing in? Because it's not the place I want to be if there's a hurricane blowing through here.
Yeah. How many people are stationed here?
Right now, it's just him.
We're gonna make our way back extraordinarily quickly. I'll have your orders sent here. hopefully we can get you back in Silvercreek so you don't have to deal with this.
He looks over to his pack and you see him pull something out. Looks like a little metal casing. And he pops it open. And he's like, I still have power to this thing. I can communicate directly with Creek, but no one's talking to me very much. Last I heard, Piper was going to see where my relief was. That was yesterday afternoon.
Be grateful people aren't talking to you. People talking gets annoying. We'll get you taken care of.
All right. If I don't hear back in about 24 hours or so, I'm just going to go ahead and start making my way back down so I don't have to be up here.
Wise decision. Make sure that you avoid the T-Rexes, though. I don't think I need to tell you that.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood to meet one right now. Not the right time, you know. I just don't feel up for it. I'm not ready for a new commitment.
Like, there's like at that Zach laughs, but it's like a really kind of sad laugh. Sometimes the commitment gets put on him. He just kind of looks up to Kimmy and then goes, right. We're gonna go, but on the way here, I had some ideas about a canopy walkway. It's still very early on, but
leans in with interest as you start giving a bit of an idea to him.
Is there any sort of landing here that Kimmy could actually like sit up here with them, like some sort of like balcony piece?
The trees are large enough that you can risk flying through the branches and finding a spot to land. Yes, it is a roll.
Yeah. I think she would be like, she's very like skittish and she's kind of a paranoid thing. And if she gets eyes on Zach, I think she would want to come in like,
okay,
I didn't get to be with you through this whole thing,
but I see you now, and you're in my realm. You're up in the sky, so now I get to.
Knee. It's Kimmy time, and she's
gonna. So difficulty is gonna start at 4, so it's a 12 or better.
Okay, I have a flying skill.
That's good.
Flying, gliding, diving.
Okay, those are all three of those definitely come into play here. So then that'll reduce it down to by 3. So then, down to 3 rather. So you need a 9 or better.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what's this one. I think that's just speed defense. Yeah, that's just speed defense. Okay, cool. Right. Let's see. What did I need?
You needed a 9 or better.
She got a 10.
You got a 10?
Let's go, Kimmy. It's a little hard, but she does it.
It's not graceful, and there's some cracking sounds as you hit a couple of the branches, but you're big enough to be able to just deal with it.
The big it's like almost like a your baby deer kind of like knee wobble, like when she like hits down, like as she tries to fold back up, it like is kind of like a little bit of a wobble before she catches herself, and like if a pterodactyl could fake it till she makes it that she did not just trip on the sidewalk. That's what she looks like right now.
Yeah.
And she stands up and she's like does her little, she kind of like claps her jaw at you. She's like, we're hanging out here, right?
You just it gets a little bit of a smug laugh from Vec. Just
and there's my commitment. And he's gonna reach in his bag and grab one of his rations.
All right.
And just pass it over to Kimmy.
Oh yeah, big chunk.
While this is happening, as you guys have reached about the same time you've exited the lab and are on your own again. About the same time this is happening, the 3 of you, Joe, are all merging here in Silvercreek. As you come back in, all of you are feeling a little more refreshed right now. It's definitely an improvement from where you were not too long ago, just trying to get any kind of cleaning done on yourselves after that journey. In this case, as the 3 of you are stepping back into the city limits, as it were, as you're coming through the gate, you see emerging in the center walkway, or it's kind of inaccurate to call it a road, but it is like the main pathway that leads down to the center of Silvercreek itself. You can see Clover Looking around, kind of, Clover, you're kind of on your own right now. Not really. You don't really know anybody. The only person around you is Sweets, who is very much keeping you company and is curious about everybody else. But for the most part, this is new. Living outside so openly and not somewhere hidden away, this is definitely a new experience. And seeing, indeed, there are families here. You see small children. You see a man who looks like he's in his mid-30s holding a baby as he's reaching down and picking up a pail and carrying it into his domicile. It's different. These people are living a life. They're not living a cause. And it's unusual to you. Something you've never really seen before.
As we're walking,
Go ahead. I was just going to say, you spot these two walking in. Go ahead.
as we're walking up, I think Jo is kind of putting some of her things into. So Atticus has like the side bag. That was my moderately expensive item. Was the bag for Dino bag. She's kind of putting her things in, and to Ozzy saying, we should find someone to ask what their rules and regulations are for where we can home him for the evening, because it seems like it's different everywhere, and I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. And I think as she's like tapering off in that conversation, she goes, oh hi, like as we like 50 feet away, like sees Clover and is done with that line of thought entirely.
Hey,
Did you find a place to clean up to?
oh no, I didn't even think of that.
Oh,
Fair enough. I wouldn't have Joden say something.
you don't have to.
No,
I
yeah,
was-
I probably should.
Hmm?
You all look refreshed.
Mud bath. And then bath.
Yeah.
And then mud bath. And then, anyway.
Atticus is still muddy, like just like this. Like
Oh, and just on top of the frill, Vern?
Oh, Vern sees their friend and just scampers from Ozzy over to Atticus. Oh wait, y'all have been together already, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Could say
Well,
Vern.
though Vern does now see friend
The other
Clover
friend. Other
And-
friend.
and friend
yeah.
Sweets.
Yeah.
This is itself a potential cause for greeting.
Tiny squeaks.
Are you also intending on staying in town, or was this just a footnote in your journey? I must admit, I don't know much about your plans.
Right. I didn't really have plans, just to kind of find a place to not be where I was before. So
Hell yeah.
this place seems nice, and there's lots of cool stuff to discover and learn, and I feel like maybe I could have a role here. Could pitch in. So yeah, I think I'll stay if they'll let me stay.
Oh, I
Seems like
see
it.
what it is.
What?
I see right through you.
What do you mean? What?
You're here for the air conditioning, aren't you?
Oh.
It's okay. Don't be embarrassed. It's fantastic. I just kind of want to live in that lab and not really for the lab work.
so strange. You walk inside and it feels like after a really long cold rain, but it's inside. And
all the
it feels
time.
like nighttime, but inside. It's so strange. I love
You know,
it.
they couldn't build technology that wouldn't stick us here, but gosh, could they control climate in a little building?
Wow.
It's a staple.
It's pretty amazing. Yes, the AC and all the other tech that I really, really, really want to play with.
What caught your attention?
Oh my goodness, there's a 3D organic material printer of some kind.
Oh yes, we use that to integrate biotechnology and cybernetics and biorobotics,
Oh my. It's
and I'm sure others too. But
yeah, I never saw things like that. I mean, I built my own things, so it was like small little things, but these like big machines that have these amazing purposes, like, oh, I can't wait to get my hands on some of those.
I'd love to see the things you've built. what kind of? I feel like this is the most they've talked like in their entire
This whole
journey.
time.
Like
Yeah.
we've
We
had
haven't
air
been talking about
conditioning
real
and
things this entire time.
hydrated. Yeah.
We were like
So-
super dehydrated and like lost. So yeah.
Mhm. And so I think there's like, oh, okay, well, we have a wavelength. I think moment for Joe. Like, oh, I'd love to hear about the things that interest you. It seems obviously technological. I mean, it's as my expertise, but if you are an inventor of some kind, that would be fascinating to hear about.
Yeah, I once built a solar power source so it could capture the power of sunlight and power small devices that got
Even through
destroyed.
the canopy?
Um,
Oh,
canopy?
sorry to hear that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, almost everything.
So Ozzy shovels him.
Mm.
Ozzy just, yeah,
Ozzy
you'll turn
really
around and
sorry.
Ozzy is done. Ozzy has more exploring to do, more new people to bother, more new, like, what's this? What's this? What's this?
That's
What's
so
this?
funny.
What's this?
I already know all the things Joe is interested in. I've assimilated that information.
Yeah.
New
No, Joe is
experiences.
fascinated
Enjoy.
by you being an inventor or a tinkerer kind of a thing. She's like, ooh, we need to talk.
Mhm. And these goggles, I built these and I never got to like just wear them out in public. So it's been nice to just do that.
What do they do?
So, well, I guess I can show you. Here, Sweets, here. And I take out a little treat from my pocket, give it
Roll.
to Sweets. Oh, yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
difficult.
Let's see if you got enough badges to trade me.
Yeah.
Tell you what though, if you're gonna pull out a treat,
Yes, always.
I will ease the difficulty of the roll by 1. So
Okay.
you need a 6 or better on a d20 for
Great.
Sweets to understand what you want from them.
Okay. I'll just roll that.
Otherwise,
straight.
they're gonna be like, "I'm gonna take that treat, maybe the hand that's holding it, and
Just
then I'm
for
gonna do
fun.
whatever I want."
Let's see if there is a thing for this. I think no, yeah. I think I can just roll it straight.
Okay.
That
Sam is like, "Crimes, crimes."
weird
Well,
sign.
no, that would be if the role were gay.
Uh,
Then it would do.
Yeah, I'm not finding it right now, but I think it's just having the goggles is here.
Enables the thing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's just an action to initiate. This is called Bird's Eye.
Okay.
So the goggles just work, but to get Sweets to
Exactly. Right.
do
Yeah.
a thing. Is the
I'm
To
just
idea.
get- yeah,
see
put
if
them on
I have
Sweets.
any, if there's anything that helps with this roll, but it's not.
Mhm.
Okay.
6 or better.
Oh, I got a 7.
Oh, we
Y'all are
just
just
on-
barely getting these rolls
We're
tonight.
tired, Eric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Squawk!
just barely getting these rolls. Okay, in which case, yes, Sweets, you get the basic idea of it's the goggles. I know these.
Mhm, yeah. She's probably so after the treat, I say, and I start putting them on my head.
Okay.
Go, girl, go.
All right. Takes off. Takes the air.
And I say, oh yeah, okay, so that's setting it. That's great. Okay, so I can see that there's a perimeter, there's this wall, and I just start describing the aerial view, and I'm like, here, take a look. And
You get to before you do that, because funny thing about this moment is in this moment, because you can see what Sweets is able to see, you are essentially able to accomplish what our poor Karn just spent the entire day traveling to do. So I'm going to need you to make a perception check, because you actually have a better view outside the canopy of trees than the Karn does. So go ahead and make your roll real quick.
Work smart.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, I would have done the exact same thing. It's literally just using your smarts. What's that music that plays the black cat that yeah, so your difficulty for this roll is going to be a 2, so you need a 6 or better.
Okay, is that that's the normal difficulty or adjusted for having
It's a standard difficulty without anything adjusted to it.
Well, in that case.
So.
My pterosaur gal is curious, and so I gain an asset on all perception tasks when
And
they
it's
help
now
me
a
search
1.
and listen.
You
Okay.
need a 3 or better on the d20.
Well, my God, I hope I get that.
I could have died.
Hey, that's what you get for not talking to people. You talk to people, you learn things about them.
Yeah. And it's like, don't be upset. You could still be eaten.
Yeah, it's fun. It's still a possibility. Oh, you got to talk to people, learn things about them. Then you don't have to go make dangerous journeys.
As a former member of the Butterflies, you spent most of your life living out in the wilds.
Yeah.
You know the areas to avoid. You know what to look for. You know the signs. You very much have the very same instincts that Zach does as a Karn. And getting this kind of altitude and being able to see through, it's a little tricky. Every time you look through these goggles, first of all, it's a little chaotic because much like birds, Sweets tends to just dart their very large angular head around to get better angles and like tilt to the side to get a good view of the ground. And the transmission is not always clear. It sometimes looks a little bit like you're trying to track an old VHS tape. It takes a few seconds so that headaches don't set in. But in this case, even without a lot of color coming through the visuals that you're seeing, you can see a dark sky not far from here. And you get the same estimate that Zach is getting. There's probably a big storm, and it looks like it's moving in the direction of Silvercreek, maybe in about a day, 2 days tops.
Oh wow. Whew, okay. We have a really big storm coming in. Here, take a look.
Okay. And
Can we do that? Can I?
Yeah, you can hand it
Let
over
it
to her.
play.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think you have not explained what is happening. So Joe's just like, all right, like let's find out what this is. And so she puts them on, not 100% knowing what's about to happen, and immediately goes, oh, I see.
Yes, you do.
Looking out over... I see. Yes, I do.
Looking out over the treetops, you get... it occurs to you immediately what has happened. As you're seeing this, you're like, oh, you're literally getting the pterodactyl's eye view. So you're looking into the screen, you see the same... It's pretty distant. It looks like a black line has been traced across the horizon with a scattering of these great gray clouds that are reaching out towards Silvercreek. You're guessing it's pretty close. You don't have a good estimate because you're not quite as familiar with survival as everybody else. But yeah.
She takes them out and she goes, I'm very dizzy now.
Oh, yeah. It takes some time to get used to it.
She puts them back up regardless. No, too dizzy. That's fascinating. You made that on your own? From nothing?
Yeah. Well, she already had
some items, but
right. She already had the implants, and I had kind of scavenged some pieces of the goggles, and I had to put a lot of the guts into it to actually make it work. But yeah,
that's fascinating. I guess I haven't really had a need to see that far before.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to see that far before. Then I did, and
I'm glad we both did.
Me too.
It's very cool. She hands them back to you. You have to have, your constitution must be incredibly strong. You looked in that for a very long time. I immediately got dizzy. It's impressive.
It takes a while to get used to. Sweet's view.
The Sweet's view.
And name.
So what's your interest? Like in tech stuff?
Oh, and she kind of, I think, like, not quite like bends down and like knocks on Atticus's, cybernetics by robotics is my area of study and expertise. I do a lot of development and research into improving cybernetics and making them more efficient and installing upkeep, that sort of thing. But I also have sort of general technical knowledge as well when it comes to computers and things. But I enjoy the cybernetics.
Oh wow. Could you take a look at Sweets' sometime just to make sure? I mean, I don't really know anything about them, and I've been doing my best to make sure they, as she grows, they grow with her. And
yes, she absolutely needs. There's route. I will make a schedule. There's routine upkeep. I can show you. There'll be tools that you will be easily, if you've done this. And she kind of gestures at the goggles. Absolutely, you'll be able to keep them up on your own. But yes, we can sit down and whenever. Maybe we get some rest and maybe not irritate the pterosaur, who is probably a little sleepy also. But once we've eaten and slept and cooled down a little, I'd love to show you the ropes.
And she starts looking in the goggles just to make sure what's Sweet's doing now. She get distracted by something.
Honestly, I think Sweets is just kind of showing off in the sky.
Oh, okay, girl. Oh, she like doing loopy loops and stuff.
Enough to make you dizzy now. Like,
Okay.
oh yeah, that's a view. That for sure is a view. Watching from the ground, that's tumbling.
Yeah. She's been, we've been. Well, I guess
She's been in the trees for a while.
exactly.
Feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I think she's just enjoying the open sky. Do you think they know about that storm that's coming? Like the town? Should we tell someone? They must know these things, right?
I am not the person to gauge that kind of estimation, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt to share that information. We can see who we can find. And she turns, and that's when she notices that Ozzy is no longer here, and goes, well, okay, we can find someone to yeah, and she'll start with just walking in a direction, like
Yeah. Okay. Clover follows. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Joe
curious.
has all the audacity and zero understanding of anything that's happening.
I'm curious what Ozzy is up to.
I've had so many awful intrusive thoughts.
I'm very interested to hear.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that one. So there was I want to find Piper.
Okay, that's easy. She's up on the wall. She is near the front gates. It looks like she's leaning up against the gate, having a conversation with one of the other guards up there. When I say guards too, it looks like it's pretty chill. Like you don't see people walking the perimeter or anything else like that. It looks like it's mostly people hanging out and having conversations and updating and planning for the next day kind of thing.
Okay.
They kind of take shifts, just stepping up onto the walls and looking out and taking a good readout and stuff like that. But the gates of Silvercreek are open. There's some of the herds that are being let out and let back in. Lots of the farmers coming and going, people working out just outside the walls of Silvercreek. You don't get a sense that the place is on any kind of high alert, but Piper definitely looks like she is eager for there to be one, because she walks back and forth like she is just ready for some shit to go down. You can see the way she has a spring in her step. You can see the way she talks to people. She, again, looks a little untested. Like she's a little eager. Doesn't take much of a role to make the assessment.
Okay.
I mean, she sees you approach and doesn't say anything. She just glances at you for a moment and then goes back to her conversation. And then looks back at you again to see if it was just sort of like a accidental making eye contact sort of moment. And when she sees you approaching, she nods to the person she's with and she calls out to you and goes, "What's up?"
You got a minute? I got a few questions. You seemed like you know what's up. You seem like leadership kind of stuff. So if you're not too busy with that.
I don't usually see myself as a walking visitor center, but I can help maybe. She hops down from where she is and strolls over to you. You can hear the heavy combat boots thudding against these thick boards that she's walking across. She's about maybe 10 feet above you. She sits down and lets her feet dangle off. And she goes, "What do you need to know?"
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. It's just, I mean, am I wrong? You seem to have your finger on the pulse.
You gonna ask a question? I got stuff to do.
Yeah, no. My buddy has a trike friend, and I just wanted to make sure we were abiding by the practices of the town, however that works, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. She scratches her head a little bit and says, "Yeah, we can't let that trike into the town, unfortunately."
Hey, rules are rules. We're here to respect that. We just want to know what we should be doing. It seems like y'all aren't strangers to having dinosaurs around.
No. We got a few. We got a pasture that's close by. Atticus, was that his name?
Yeah, good memory.
She nods. She says, I got a thing for names. Plus, he stands out. He's a big boy with a big metal leg. How old is he?
Oh, the age where they get mad at you if I tell you.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, it's going to be tricky with him. If he's old enough, it may not make a difference. He seems like he's kind of past his party days, but with trikes, it's hard to tell. With bulls like him, they'll get excited right up to the very end, but sometimes they don't care so much. If he's the type that's a little more chill, then letting him out into the pasture is not going to be a big deal. Otherwise, it's tricky when there's this much of a herd nearby.
Yeah, 'tis the season and all that. And I mean, that herd, are any of them gonna feel threatened by his masculinity or something?
She shrugs and says, I mean, trike bulls. They're all out to dress to impress. They'll start a fight with anything if it means they can catch the eye of a female. So
Yeah, trikes and mammals, I hear you. I don't even say anything, but I do it just like take my hand, put it into my pouch, and with my hand over Vern's ears, like, nope, not this mammal. This mammal, you're fine, pat pat.
Vern gets earmuffs, basically.
Yeah, just a little earmuffs while we're talking about.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, if that's good, I'll let her know it's good. So is it just dinos around here? Y'all, I mean, you'll forgive me for saying, but it didn't seem like you get visitors too often around here.
She smiles at that and says, no, I mean, we didn't before. We got visitors a couple of years back. I was still pretty young back then. I wasn't part of the militia yet. But before that, no, not really. Silvercreek, Melina founded Silvercreek and did it because she wanted out of Kaleno. She wanted out of Seti. She wanted away from all of it. She just wanted to come.
Is Sati. I kind of got the vibe. And,
oh yeah, no,
the
she's the
building.
first. She shrugs. Yeah, she's the first commuter. She's been out here. She founded Silvercreek something like 60 years ago, something like that. I never remember the exact number, but it's been a while, and yeah, nothing more to it. We don't get people coming this far north.
No other Sati people or anything?
Take a roll.
Absolutely.
Are you trying to be because
I'm sorry, was there any other motive in this whole conversation?
Yeah, Eric senses you're getting at something. I want to see if she senses you're getting at something.
Oh yeah.
So
no.
what are you?
You know what's up.
Yeah. So go ahead and make your roll. And this is is this like you're kind of pressing her for information, but doing it in a very chill way. Kind of trying to get her
very best. Started with the butter up. Started with the innocent. Yeah, no, we see how this is.
Okay, so go ahead and make your socials check here, and if you have a skill or anything that'll apply, and of course you got a mammal, it's gonna help you with this.
I have a baby mammal. What's the difficulty?
Yep. So the difficulty is going to have started at 3. You're going to get an automatic easing, I believe, because of your mammal. Because mammal lets you social better. It kind of enhances your social.
Yeah, can I say that Vern pokes their head out in the most adorable way and it's just like staring and like squeaking towards Piper. That's
I like the idea. I unearmuffed and in reaction. Hey, wait, what's that?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's
you guys talking about something?
Honestly.
So then that's going to reduce the difficulty down. So you'll just need a 2 or difficulty is 2. So you need a 6 or better.
Yep. All right. And I look. I'm plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. So I would like to take my persuasion. And I'm gonna spend 2 points of intellect, and we just lacy it. Just
you're just gonna lacy it.
Let it on through.
Difficulty 0. You're just gonna auto succeed. Yeah. Remember when Sam stopped playing Cypher during our Cypher game? They were just like, I don't want to roll anymore. I'm done.
I've also experienced this. The beauty of specializing in Cypher.
I remember a season finale where I didn't roll and I chose to, and the dice did a very good and very brave thing. And I was very proud of them.
All right.
What a sweet baby.
So she she hesitates for a moment. You get the sense that she suspects that you're trying to pry her for information. But you see, she glances down at that fuzzy thing you got in your bag there that's poking its head out. And it's the subtlety of the innocence of it all. Like maybe you are just an innocent kid asking a question kind of deal. She says, what was the question specifically? So she answers appropriately.
Oh, so you don't get any other satty people besides, and gestures at me and sort of vaguely Dahlia word.
Yeah. She says, not in Silvercreek. We've certainly had moments where they came a little close to Silvercreek.
You say that like it isn't a good thing around here.
She shrugs. I mean, the whole reason that Melina started up Silvercreek to begin with is so that she didn't have to deal with Sati anymore. But, she nods over to all the way hundreds of feet away. You can see the research station that she calls home. She nods over to that and she goes, it's technically Sati property, so they might have something to say about that. But
I won't tell if you don't. How far did those other Sati people come? Did they? I was about to ask if they messed with you, and then I just look up and down the weapons.
She just goes, fuck yeah, they messed with us.
Wait, what, for real?
She nods and she says, I mean, not directly. They got tangled up in some shit. I don't know the whole story. I was a kid then. This was almost 7 years ago now.
Well, it sounds like you got the better of it if they didn't come back in 7 years.
Shrugs, says, nope, haven't seen. You're the first Sati we've seen walking through our gates.
Put me in the Melina pile. Kalina wasn't for me.
She shrugs and says, I figured that'd be the case. If you were still Sati, Melina would have something to tell me.
If I were still Sati, I wouldn't make 400 miles worth of trek. I don't think anyone does that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Who treks through the Red Jaw Wilds for 400 miles instead of taking a damn boat?
Ozzy. Nice to meet you.
Melina's the smart village elder. And I lean on her all the time because she's got the experience and the expertise. But she's not as cynical as I am.
Mm-hmm.
No one treks through 400 miles of the Red Jaw Wilds to find a small little blip of a community, long almost nearly forgotten about. Unless there's an objective or there's desperation. I heard you told her you weren't running from anybody. I'm not going to call you a liar because you seem like you're a decent type of person. I can definitely tell you're not telling me everything. You're way too smart to do what you did unless some serious shit was happening.
You ever wonder why Melina set up shop 400 miles away? Seems to me no one does that except desperation.
She nods slowly like she agrees with that. I think that's why Melina's and I am okay with you right now. We get Melina's here. She smiles, carrying on the example. And it's okay. I mean, not to drag everything down, but truth of the matter is she just kind of motions to the sky. We're all here until we're not. Might as well live it up.
Yeah. Yep. No way back. Well, I guess I gotta get settled. Though at least the sun's finally gone. I'm color my hair now.
I'll give you some tips.
Please do.
Number 1, it's spring. Do not go to the flats. Stay away from the flats for the next 3 months. Do not go anywhere near them.
No flats.
No flats.
On the heel, Scott.
The mosquitoes don't kill you. And the other thing will.
You know I'm going to ask what the other thing is.
The other thing is a dinosuchus named Grimscale.
Y'all don't have pick names.
Dinosuchus got their name because they earned it. It's Grimscale's swamp, basically. You're looking at a 30-foot crocodile that'll eat just about any damn thing that comes near the banks. Doesn't
Or
matter.
I'm not looking at it because I don't go to the swamp.
Yeah, but it'll make himself known. Stay away. Not even the big predators go over to the swamp when it turns springtime. They know better. The dumb ones, well, they end up at the bottom of the Draco split. Nobody sees them again.
Fair enough.
Stay away from the flats during spring. Stay away from the flats during summer. Fall hits, things get a little bit easier. Weather cools a little bit. Grimjaw gets a little slower, a little less excitable. That kind of thing. Mosquitoes are gone. Mosquitoes go away about midsummer anyway. So there's also a lot of raptors out there feeding on the mosquitoes. Raptors feed on the mosquitoes and flies when they're babies. Lots of protein out there. So if you want to get yourself a hand of a microraptor, don't go to the flats. So that's the first thing I was going to tell you.
No flats.
Yeah. Also, stay away from the grass trees. They're to the east of here. Raptors love to hunt in the grass trees.
I believe I might have become acquainted.
Yeah. It's not too far from the east, but the grass grows about a little taller than your head.
Yeah.
Raptors love hunting out there.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Aside from that, oh, and Stripe. Yeah, watch out for Stripe. You don't have to worry about Stripe unless you're going into the Red Jaw. Otherwise, you're fine.
Okay, well, I mean, Stripe doesn't sound as bad as Grimscale or anything, so...
Well, Grimscale won't hunt you. Stripe will.
But...
Grimscale is a feeder of opportunity, the way all of his kind are. Stripe will hunt you. So, just don't go to Red Jaw. The forest that you somehow miraculously survived.
Yeah.
That's where she likes to hunt. That's where she likes to make her territory. And that's it. Aside from that, if you're sticking around, the next thing to do is figure out what you're good at and then put you to work. Like the rest of us.
Yeah. I'm not a techie like my buddies, but I'm sure I'll figure out something.
You'll figure out something. I mean, Michael, look at him. He's a biologist. He's a dinosaur herder. He's a farmer. He doesn't stop doing anything.
Oh, I don't know that I'll be that kind of a polymath, but we'll see. I'm sure I've got some sort of talent in here somewhere. I'll let you back to it. I appreciate the time.
She nods again.
Visitor center.
Stands up and she goes, and if you ever want to, learn how to use a weapon, let me know. There's lots of training that happens out here. Everyone needs to know how to hold a glaive at least once, or a gun.
I might take you up on that. I'll pause. Saudi aren't good people. Sure, some of them are, but...
She says, honestly, the only Saudi people I've ever known are Melina and... Oh, you see her exhale as she says his name. Melina and Becker, but aside from those two, I don't really have much of an opinion. Melina tells us to beware of them. That we've got stuff that they want and they might come looking for it one day.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say no one was looking. Said no one was after me.
Nods slowly and says, that's a good distinction for the protector of Silvercreek to be able to know.
See you at training.
Yeah. She hops up. Heads back
All
to
right.
her post.
I'm gonna go find Joe and tell her where Atticus can chill out.
You're going to find Atticus is going to get himself a nice little spot outside of the gates of Silvercreek. There's plenty of water and trees, lots of grass to eat, and lots of horny other trikes running around out there.
Cool, awesome.
As you're doing that, you're also catching what looks like a very excited Joe handing back scopes.
Just, I don't think they got very far. Like
Yeah,
they did not move from that spot. That conversation.
I think
Yeah.
I think honestly, it's you get there just in time to see pulling these scopes off and just Joe going, oh, like they're gonna throw up, but they're so excited as they hand these scopes
Yeah,
back.
it's the moment of oh, I'm very dizzy. Like that.
While this is happening, though, back in the Red Jaw Wilds, Zach,
Yeah.
you linger up here in the trees for a while. You manage to connect with Vec. Becker is definitely cavalier would be the best way to describe him. He acts like he expects to die at any day. So he's going to have like a smarmy attitude. He's very much Australian in attitude. Kind of the type that would be like, oh, it's a deadly snake. Wow, look at that deadly snake. Let's get up close to it. Kind of like, wow, look how intimidating this snake is. Kind of has that mentality of always being around things that could be dangerous. And so, sure, just be calm about it and treat it like it's normal. It's kind of his attitude. He has that sort of, that strange inner courage that come naturally. He is easy to talk to, and you and Tara find yourselves kind of cracking jokes and unwinding a little bit. When it's time to start heading back, you start realizing that the sun is starting to set, and it's going to be a little too dangerous to travel Red Jaw at night. That's asking for it, especially at night. Without having to make a roll, you know damn well that any hunting that's going to happen is going to happen at night, particularly with the T-Rex. You have learned, along with other Karn like you out here near the Red Jaw Wilds, is that despite the pictures and whatnot and imagery that you saw as a child, in truth, the padding on their feet actually makes T-Rex terrifyingly quiet when it's hunting. And at night, they can be very dangerous. Lingering up here is kind of the thing to do. As you are lingering up here, behind you, you can hear the older man and Tara cracking jokes back and forth. Tara making fun of his leathery skin, him poking back at her for being ageist. And as you're listening to the back and forth, all you can do is stare off into the distance, looking at that dark line that's just growing bigger and bigger, headed towards Silvercreek. Tomorrow, you're going to have to make it back to town. By then, it's probably true that Silvercreek will already know that something is up. But you have a feeling that in the next 48 hours, there's a big battle ahead of you. Mother Nature's bringing it. And you guys are going to have to make it back to Silvercreek before it hits. That's where we're going to stop the game for this evening. That's where we're going to end episode 2. With you looking out over this scenic route at this great storm that's coming in.
Kimmy getting comfy.
Yeah.
Next to you. Like
Everybody,
we're not going? Okay.
Everybody, if you would please gain an XP for tonight's game.
Woo!
Go team.
Yeah, everybody did good. Also, Noir, you also made a discovery tonight, so go ahead and gain that extra XP as well.
Oh, I'm so much XP.
Yeah, swimming in it. Yeah, I think, by the way, it's worth noting you cannot bank XP past 4. You have to spend it.
Oh, okay.
So you can't have a battery of XP underneath. You have to start spending it.
I believe the max
Okay.
is at 10. Your pool, like
Oh, that's correct. Yes,
I
that's
believe you're
10.
forced to spend 4 is when you can take an
4 is when
advancement.
you can. That's correct.
But
when
you can
buy
bank
the
up to
next trade.
10,
That's
9
thank you
or
for
10.
reminding me. Yeah, so
Mhm,
10.
mhm.
Okay,
So
cool.
we can take an advancement
At 4,
after
yeah.
4.
If you have 4 XP points, you can buy an
Yep,
advancement.
Noir and
Or
Eliza can
advancements get you to the next
I
tier.
got 5. So
Ooh.
You guys gonna start
Mm.
buying
big
up stuff?
spender.
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
Okay.
Okay.
I'll shop
Sweet.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at some abilities. Think about what you guys want. You guys have learned a little bit more about your characters. This is only the second session. So you've learned a little bit more about your characters and where they live, and you've learned a little bit more about the wilds around you and kind of the challenges that Silvercreek faces, but you've only just scratched the surface. We've got Ozzy, who might be learning how to join the militia, and we've got somebody who is finally getting to tap into that tech savvy like impulse that you have been forbidden forever tapping. Lots of stuff going on right now. And then of course, you're out in the Red Jaw Wilds, Zach, where you've already spotted predation happening. You've spotted signs of it.
Yeah, and I didn't need to. It's the killer thing.
Yeah, but you might have gotten some information tonight that may not have been available to the party had you not done this.
Yeah.
You definitely got a detail that is very important that we do not have.
That is very true. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and close this out then. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you next Monday as we return to the Cretaceous period. Until then, good night.